Chapter 737. No! Along with miserable screams, the warlock genius Xue Jin was burned to ashes by the dragon-shaped seven-color skyfire, leaving only a moonlight core behind. Jin Mushuan's complexion changed greatly, and he extended his hand and turned it into a giant black hand that extended towards the arena. Stop! Jin Mushuan, what are you doing? Zhuge Ding roared and pointed with his finger. A beam of black divine light shone directly on Jin Mushuan's giant black hand, shattering it in an instant. Strong divine force rank fluctuations of power diffused from Zhuge Ding and forcibly suppressed the life force field released by the two infinity warlocks Jin Mushuan and Zhu Lai. Both Jin Mushuan and Zhu Lai are junior infinity warlocks, and they are extremely powerful. But they still can't contend against the strong divine force rank god Zhuge Ding. Jin Mushuan gritted his teeth and said, Zhuge Ding, aren't you battle demon sect's people too ruthless? Zhuge Ding sneered, it's normal for there to be casualties when exchanging pointers with spells. Wasn't Xue Jin from Graveyard of the Dead just as ruthless and merciless? The battle demon sect is hostile to Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead. As a result, who knows how many warlocks have died? In fact, the disciple competition is a means for the three warlock groups to eliminate the other party's genius disciples. It was because of this that Yang Feng was the first to act and insta-killed Xue Jin. This isn't a friendly exchange of pointers between geniuses, but a life and death struggle in the astral boundary. Jin Mushuan stared at Zhuge Ding and said coldly, good. Very good. Zhuge Ding, I will remember your words. When make, go and bring Yang Feng's body back. Yes. Great Elder. Wen Ming casually responded. With a flash of his body, he directly entered the battle arena. Yang Feng, that's a warlock genius who suppressed the Western world's 3 dynasties in the Time Sky City for you. To have promoted to a glorious sun warlock in such a short time, that's really amazing. Unfortunately, your opponent is me. From today onwards, all of your glory will completely disappear, because you will become one of my favorite collectibles. Surrounded by black gas, when Mick stared at Yang Feng like a skinny devil, showed a ferocious smile, spread the fingers of a hand, and a magic ball covered in countless sealing runes appeared. The magic ball with countless sealing runes opened at once, and a wicked aura gushed out of the magic ball. A demonic corpse with a pair of horns on the head, engraved with all kinds of weird runes, and lifeless eyes exuding wisps of infinity warlock rank wicked breath flew out of the demonic sphere. When Zhuge Dingi saw the terrifying demonic corpse, his countenance changed dramatically, and strong divine force rank fluctuations of power gushed out from him. Infinity demonic corpse. Your Graveyard of the Dead actually gave the guardian demon corpse to him. Infinity warlock demonic corpses are demonic corpses cultivated by Graveyard of the Dead using countless secret methods and resources. It is said that there are only 3 such corpses in Graveyard of the Dead. If a warlock who cultivates the undead melt secret method fuses with an infinity demonic corpse, they can even erupt with infinity warlock rank battle prowess for a short time. Infinity demonic corpses are secret treasures of Graveyard of the Dead, and they are sealed in Graveyard of the Dead's headquarters all year round. Now that Wen Make has summoned the infinity demonic corpse, Zhuge Dingi was naturally shocked. Looking at the shocked Zhuge Dingi, Jin Mushuan showed a look of pleasure on his face, and he also erupted with infinity warlock rank life force field. Zhuge Dingi. Secret treasures are also part of a warlock's strength. Since Wen Make can control the infinity demonic corpse, that's his ability. We'll give it to him because of Graveyard of the Dead. Zhu Lai also smiled coldly and erupted with infinity warlock rank life force field to contend with Zhuge Dingi. The 3 powerful fluctuations of power confronted each other, and a terrifying aura pervaded the area. Although they released fluctuations of power, but none of the 3 powerhouses took action. They just confronted each other. After all, the 3 parties came here to solve a problem, not to kill each other. As long as they don't cross a bottom line, no one will take action. When Wen Make released the infinity demonic corpse, he smiled ferociously at Yang Feng, blurred into motion, turned into a stream of black gas, and entered the infinity demonic corpse. Idiot! Yang Feng smiled coldly, took a step forward, and appeared in front of the infinity demonic corpse in a blur. He reached out with a finger and touched the space between the eyebrows of the infinity demonic corpse. The true God Empyrean imprint suddenly appeared, and countless black runes turned into chains that pierced into the space between the eyebrows of the infinity demonic corpse. Countless runes appeared on the infinity demonic corpse. The infinity demonic corpse trembled violently, and When Make's soul projection emerged. Wrapped in black rune chains, When Make's soul projection struggled frantically, trying to break free from Yang Feng's true God Empyrean imprint. However, no matter how he struggled, he could not break free from the seal of the rune chains. When Jin Mushuan saw this scene, his face fell, and he roared loudly, turned into a stream of light, and flew towards the arena, saying, "Stop! We admit defeat. We admit defeat in this battle." When Make is the strongest warlock genius in Graveyard of the Dead, as well as the hope of this era. He only has intermediate Glorious Sun warlock rank cultivation base, yet he has already inherited one of Graveyard of the Dead's 3 infinity demonic corpses. If it wasn't for the fact that he met Yang Feng, a genuine Bright World warlock proficient in countless secret methods, he could crush most Glorious Sun warlocks. Haha, Jin Mushuan, if you admit defeat. It won't count until When Make admits defeat. It won't work if you admit defeat. Zhuge Ding laughed out loud as he turned into a stream of light and blocked in front of Jin Mushuan. With a punch, he blasted Jin Mushuan away. Help! Along with a miserable scream, the soul of the arrogant When Make collapsed. Yang Feng grabbed the infinity demonic corpse, threw it into a secret treasure, and sealed it. Eyes shot with blood, Jin Mushuan uttered, stressing each syllable, "How dare you? You bastards, how dare you kill a member of Graveyard of the Dead?" Zhuge Ding revealed a ferocious smile, as a powerful and terrifying battle intent emanated from his body. "So what if I killed him? This was a fair competition. It was your disciple who was inferior. Trash, even if you have a top-secret treasure, you're still trash." Each of the Battle Demon sect's top powerhouses is a fierce person who has grown through countless battles. Naturally, they aren't afraid of any battle. Yang Feng's indifferent voice came from the arena. "Next." Zhu Lai narrowed his eyes and took a deep look at Qi Meixian, and his face alternated between blue and white. Qi Meixian, on the other hand, was nervous, and her pretty face turned pale. She was originally a proud daughter of heaven, a pinnacle Glorious Sun warlock. But when she saw Yang Feng suppress When Make so easily, she no longer had the slightest confidence to defeat Yang Feng. Zhu Lai pointed to a starry sky warlock and said solemnly, "You, go and fight Yang Feng." Qi Meixian heaved a sigh of relief and rejoiced. The face of the Heart of Fury disciple turned pale, and he knelt in front of Zhu Lai and begged bitterly, "Great Elder, please don't. How can I be Yang Feng's opponent? I beg you, please choose someone else. Trash. If you don't want to go, then go to hell." Zhu Lai pointed at the Heart of Fury disciple with a furious look on his face, and a red magic light fell on the disciple. The disciple was instantly torn apart, and then devoured by violent flames. When the rest of the Heart of Fury disciples saw this scene, their hearts shook, and fear flashed in their eyes. Zhu Lai pointed at another Heart of Fury disciple and said coldly, "You, go and fight Yang Feng." The Heart of Fury disciple gritted his teeth and uttered respectfully, "Yes. Great Elder." Jin Mushuan's eyes flickered for a while, and then his gaze became cold, and he fell silent. When the Heart of Fury disciple flew into the huge arena, he immediately shouted loudly, "I admit defeat." With that, the Heart of Fury disciple blurred into motion and flew out of the arena. Yang Feng blurred into motion, flew out of the arena, and walked towards the Battle Demon sect's warlocks. At this time, the eyes of all the warlocks in Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead focused on Yang Feng, filled with apprehension, fear, and killing intent. Zhuge Ding glanced at Zhu Lai and the other person and said flatly, "Okay, you can go. Remember to evacuate your people on the Onlay Star within a month. Otherwise, when our people arrive there, they will be treated as enemies and destroyed." "No problem." Zhu Lai's eyes flashed with enigmatic light, and he took out a white jade token from his bosom and crushed it. A dazzling white pillar of light suddenly rose from this place. In the middle of the white beam of light, a boat of light seemingly condensed from boundless holy light flew out of the void, and then, under the guidance of the white beam of light, flew over at an incredible speed. The boat of holy light that was formed from boundless holy light bloomed with resplendent holy light. Countless little angels with snow-white wings, exuding an aura of innocence, who looked like young boys and girls, flew around the boat, singing hymns. There are countless angels standing on the ship of light. Among them, there are 3 male blazing angels exuding terrifying auras sitting on 3 jade thrones. Chapter 738. Zhuge Ding looked at the holy light vessel in the sky with a dignified look in his eyes, and an unclear premonition welled up inside him, and he asked coldly, "Zhu Lai, who are they? What do you want?" Zhu Lai replied with a cold smile, "They are Sir Blazing Angels under the command of the mighty Warlock Emperor Dawn Lord." "Zhuge Ding, why don't you come and greet the angels?" "Warlock Emperor Dawn Lord." When they heard this, everyone's complexion suddenly changed dramatically. Even the calm Yang Feng, who seems to have everything under control, couldn't help but have his complexion changed dramatically. Among the many planes, many of them had gods called the King of Dawn. After the emergence of the 8th Warlock Dynasty's Dawn Royal City, wherever the human warlocks went, all the gods named Dawn Lords were killed by the 8th Warlock Dynasty's Warlock Emperor, the Dawn Lord. After the collapse of the 8th Warlock Dynasty, many more gods called the Dawn Lord appeared in the countless planes. However, there was only one Warlock Emperor Dawn Lord, the founder of the 8th Warlock Dynasty and one of the human 8 Warlock Emperors, the Dawn Lord. The Tsangji Plains human warlocks have given birth to a total of 8 Warlock Emperors. Although the Dawn Lord is recognized as the weakest. But in fact, the other 7 Warlock Emperors are excessively powerful, almost reaching the invincible realm. During the period when the other 7 Warlock Emperors were at their most tyrannical, wherever they went, Warlock Emperor rank powerhouses of other races retreated and hid. Those who dared to show themselves were either suppressed or killed by them. Among Warlock Emperor rank powerhouses, the Dawn Lord is above average in strength. But he was once defeated by Warlock Emperor rank powerhouses of other races, which is why he is considered the weakest among the human 8 Warlock Emperors. Even so, the Dawn Lord is still a genuine Warlock Emperor rank existence. When he was alive, he completely dominated the entire Tsangji Plain as well as the countless subsidiary planes with the Tsangji Plain as the core. The light of human warlock civilization enveloped countless planes. The warlocks of the Western world originally didn't occupy the mainstream of the Tsangji Plain. But after the emergence of the Dawn Lord, warlocks from the Western world became the mainstream of the Tsangji Plain and dominated countless planes. If the 8th Warlock Dynasty's Dawn Lord really emerged, then there wouldn't be any power in the Tsangji Plain that could resist his emergence. In front of the Warlock Emperor Dawn Lord, the Great Cloud Dynasty and the Western world's 3 Warlock Dynasties were nothing but ants. If they didn't surrender, they would die. The domineering Zhuge Ding's face also stiffened slightly. He stared at the vessel of light in the sky with an uneasy expression. Except for a small number of planes owned by the Battle Demon sect, the coordinates of most of the planes had been discovered by the enemy. If the Battle Demon sect becomes enemies with a Warlock Emperor rank existence, it will die without a doubt. Yang Feng regained his composure and said unhurriedly, "Warlock Emperor Dawn Lord? Impossible." In his later years, he died at the hands of the Emperor Slayer, Zhongli Mia. This was a fact that everyone knew. He can't still be alive. In the vast universe, time is the strongest. Except for eternal sovereigns, no one can resist the erosion of time. Even the soul of a Warlock Emperor rank powerhouse will slowly corrode and eventually die. In the vast universe, who knows how many Warlock Emperor rank existences are hidden? One of the important reasons why they won't appear in the world is that they have lived for too long, and their soul has begun to decay. Once they appear, they may die in a short time. In his later years, the strength of the King of Dawn was also extremely weak. At that time, for some reason, most of the Tsangji Plains human warlocks united with countless powerhouses from the outside world and launched an attack on the Dawn Lord. In one fell swoop, the Dawn Lord killed 3 great Holy Step powerhouses and 13 Holy Spirit warlocks, and then eventually perished together with the great holy steppe powerhouse, Zhonglinya. The war that resulted in the death of the Dawn Lord affected the entire Zhangji plain. The supporters of the Dawn Lord and the resistance army, these two formidable forces, fought endlessly on the Zhangji plain and other major plains, causing countless powerhouses to fall. This caused the human warlock civilization to regress by countless years. Zhuge Ding said with a cold smile, "That's right, the Dawn Lord can't use angels. I remember that the Dawn Lord was most powerful at the time, and it was his 13 apostles. I was almost deceived by you guys. Lowly mortals, look, what is this?" A handsome blazing angel sitting on a jade throne waved his hand, and a ball of white light suddenly flew out and floated in the air. In the blink of an eye, countless runes condensed from the white ball of light and formed the word, Glimmer of Dawn. A vast and seemingly endless pressure emanated from the white ball of light. Dawn Imperial Token. A thought emerged in the sea of knowledge of everyone present. No matter what kind of existence it is, they can understand the meaning contained in the white ball of light. Yang Feng looked at the Dawn Imperial Token with an enigmatic gleam in his eyes. Is it really the Dawn Lord? Zhuge Ding's eyes shimmered with a dignified shade. To force such a true meaning to emerge in the sea of knowledge of an infinity warlock, only existences above the Holy Spirit warlock rank can create such a queer power. Yang Feng uttered, "So it's an angel of the great Dawn Lord. I am Yang Feng, a true disciple of the Battle Demon sect. May I know what brings you here?" The eyes of the Battle Demon sect's people focused on the angel of the Dawn Lord. "Lowly mortals, Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead have converted to our Lord and are his servants. You sinners, you dare to attack them? This is disrespect to our Lord, a great crime of blasphemy. Hand over all the resource celestial bodies of your Battle Demon sect, and then convert to our Lord. Only then may your sins be pardoned. Otherwise, on behalf of our Lord, I will purify you today." The eyes of one of the three blazing angels radiated bright white light, and, looking like a god judging mortals, he declared from above. Along with Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead's powerhouses, Zhu Lai and Jin Mushuan blurred into motion and blocked the path of the Battle Demon sect's party to the Battle Demon airship. Zhuge Ding glanced at Zhu Lai and Jin Mushuan, and his eyes shimmered with frigid killing intent. "Zhu Lai, Jin Mushuan, do you want to violate the bet between us and become an irreconcilable enemy of the Battle Demon sect?" Face twisted, Zhu Lai laughed ferociously. "That's right, Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead want to become an irreconcilable enemy of the Battle Demon sect. However, it's the Battle Demon sect that will die. As long as you, a strong divine force rank god, die here, the strength of the Battle Demon plane will be weakened by more than 1/3. Moreover, all the geniuses of the Battle Demon sect will die here. This is the reason why we want to have a genius-disciple duel with you." Jin Mushuan stared at Yang Feng with a ferocious expression and uttered coldly, "Boy, you dare to kill 2 genius disciples of Graveyard of the Dead? After I capture you, I'll burn you to death and let you know how powerful Graveyard of the Dead is." When the genius disciples of the Battle Demon sect saw the 3 blazing angels as well as the 2 infinity warlocks Zhu Lai and Jin Mushuan appear in the sky, fear streaked past their eyes. As a strong divine force rank god, Zhuge Ding is extremely powerful. However, with his strength, even if he burns his divine force, he can only contend against the 3 blazing angels at most. Zhu Lai and Jin Mushuan, the 2 infinity warlocks, are virtually invincible. Zhuge Ding looked at the holy light vessel in the sky with a dignified look in his eyes. With his strong divine force rank strength, if he wants to escape alone, even if he is besieged by 5 infinity warlocks, he has a great chance of success. However, all the warlock geniuses of the Battle Demon sect, including Yang Feng, will likely have to stay here. Yang Feng glanced at Jin Mushuan and them and said with a cold smile, "Really? Fortunately, I always like to make more preparations. Since you're courting death, then I'll send you on your way." Fire. Ripples appeared in the space 5,000 kilometers away, and a resplendent beam of energy descended from the sky. It tore through the space and blasted towards the vessel of light. "Divine decree, there's light." The face of a blazing angel fell, and he frantically stimulated his angel force and shouted. All of a sudden, the holy light vessel shone brightly and was shrouded in a halo. When the blazing sun-grade energy beam slammed into the holy light vessel, it set off ripples, and finally collapsed together with the halo. In the distance, space distorted, and 3 blazing sun interstellar battleships appeared from different directions. Beams of light from their main cannons almost instantly bombarded the vessel of light. Under the full support of the 3 blazing angels, the halo on the holy light vessel trembled for a moment, and then collapsed. The entire holy light vessel was engulfed by the beam of light. Alexia unfurled her fallen sky wings and turned into a black streak of light as she pounced towards Zhu Lai, slashing at him with her sword. Zhuge Ding also burned his divine force in a frenzy. With a roar, he turned into an incomparably violent storm that swept towards Jin Muxian, sucking him in. Jin Muxuan roared and squirmed, and a red-horned evil ogre Infinity Devil corpse appeared and merged with him in an instant. Jin Muxuan was originally a junior Infinity Warlock rank powerhouse. But when he merged with the red-horned evil ogre Infinity Devil corpse, his strength suddenly soared, and he exuded intermediate Infinity Warlock rank fluctuations of power. In an instant, a 100-meter-tall red-horned evil ogre exuded an aura within the incomparably violent storm. Its entire body was covered in ghostly chi, and its fists carried an incomparably berserk power as it madly bombarded the storm. Under his fists, huge cracks appeared one after another in the incomparably violent storm. Chapter 739. Sneak Attack. It's no use. Zhu Lai smiled ferociously and waved his hand, and a scarlet mirror with a phoenix pattern suddenly appeared. The scarlet mirror flickered, and a 20-meter-long flaming phoenix pounced towards Alexia. Alexia's beautiful eyes shimmered coldly, and she slashed out with her sword, which emitted resplendent black light, and slashed at the flame phoenix. The pitch-black darkness energy burned the flaming phoenix and cut it in two. The terrifying darkness energy forcefully extinguished the flaming phoenix. Almost in an instant, Alexia appeared in front of Zhu Lai and slashed at him with her sword containing endless dark force. Zhu Lai's face fell, and he waved his hand, and a scarlet bead suddenly flew out. As soon as the scarlet bead appeared, it hit Alexia's sword, and then exploded with a loud boom and blasted Zhu Lai and Alexia away. Alexia was only sent flying for a moment, before she bounced back in midair and shot towards Zhu Lai. Under Alexia's frenzied attacks, Zhu Lai exerted all his strength and frantically cast all kinds of incomparably powerful spells, doing his utmost to resist her attacks. Infinity Warlock rank Fallen Angel. The Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angel is actually his woman. When the many warlocks present saw Alexia suddenly erupt with power, they stared at Yang Feng with incredulity in their eyes. Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels are pinnacle powerhouses among Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses. Any Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angel can become a bigwig who dominates a region. It should be noted that not long ago, the Battle Demon sect, one of Great Cloud Dynasty's 10 great sects, only had 4 Bright World Warlocks supporting it. Everyone, let's kill them. Kill them. When the Warlocks of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead saw Alexia fly away, their eyes flickered fiercely, and they stared at Yang Feng and the other disciples of Battle Demon's sect and cast various spells barreling towards them. Countless devil corpses appeared in the square. These devil corpses were powerful beings summoned by Graveyard of the Dead's warlocks. Each devil corpse was the corpse of a Starry Sky Warlock rank existence or above. Heart of Fury's warlocks hid behind the demonic corpses and cast various powerful offensive spells barreling towards Yang Feng and company. Since you're my enemy, you can all go to hell. A devour black moon slowly rose behind Yang Feng. As if a black hole capable of devouring everything, it devoured the spells of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead. Wherever he went, the devouring black moon would sway slightly, and all the devil corpses would be devoured and annihilated. Profound. He's comprehended a profound meaning. He has comprehended profound meaning. He is a monster-level genius who has found his own path. Profound meaning? Damn it, he's a monster-level genius who has comprehended a profound meaning and formed a virtual world. No wonder when Yuchi was insta-killed by him. When the warlocks of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead saw the Devour Black Moon behind Yang Feng, their countenances changed dramatically, and their eyes shimmered with despair. There were very few warlocks who had formed a virtual world. Among the younger generation of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead, only Qi Xiener had formed a virtual world. As for profound meaning, none of them had comprehended it. Yang Feng took a step and appeared among Graveyard of the Dead's warlocks, and the Devour Black Moon suddenly emitted a fearsome attractive force that pulled at the warlocks of Graveyard of the Dead. The warlocks of Graveyard of the Dead immediately turned into rays of light and entered the Devour Black Hole. The Devour Black Hole twisted, and their flesh and blood essence were instantly devoured, leaving only starry sky cores and moonlight cores behind. When the genius disciples of Heart of Fury saw this scene, their countenances changed dramatically, and they cast various spells and fled in different directions. Among them, Qi Xiener was the smartest. She cast a secret method and flew towards the direction of the explosion of the Vessel of Light. Although the Vessel of Light was blasted into pieces and fell to the celestial body, but the three blazing angels were unscathed. "How dare you attack us? How dare you, Ant?" The blazing angel stared at Yang Feng with flames in his eyes. With a roar, he flapped his wings, appeared in front of Yang Feng in an instant, and slashed at Yang Feng with a sword covered in angel flames. "Your opponent is me." With a loud shout, Yu Yan suddenly stabbed out with the Black Phoenix Spear in her hand. Like a beautiful but dangerous black phoenix wrapped in strange black flames, she stabbed at the seraph's heart. The weakness of blazing angels was the angel heart in the heart. As long as the angel heart wasn't destroyed, they wouldn't fear being smashed to pieces. Moreover, without an attack containing law force, even if their fleshly body was destroyed, it would be almost impossible to destroy their angel heart. However, Yu Yan is an infinity warlock. Her attacks contain formidable law force. Even the blazing angel had to give up on killing Yang Feng, brandished his sword, and fought with Yu Yan. Another infinity warlock. He actually has two infinity warlocks as his women. No wonder his cultivation base has improved so much. It turns out that two infinity warlocks are his women. I'm clearly much more handsome than him, so why aren't there any infinity warlocks interested in me? When the male disciples of Battle Demon's sect saw this scene, they showed looks of envy. Even Zhou Feng and Zhui Yifan are no exception. Alexia and Yu Yan are not only beautiful, but they are also infinity warlock rank powerhouses. It is very difficult for ordinary moonlight warlocks to meet such infinity warlocks, yet Yang Feng was able to take them into his harem, which is simply heaven-defying. Heresy! Go to hell! The figures of the two blazing angels fluttered, and they turned into two rays of light shooting towards Yang Feng, killing intent surging in their eyes. Haha! Get in here! Bursts of excited laughter came from the battlefield, and violent gales swept the two blazing angels into a violent whirlpool containing endless gales in an instant. The two seraphim roared crazily as they brandished their swords and slashed continuously. Rays of resplendent light slashed into the violent hurricane, splitting it apart. Zhuge Ding transmitted his voice to Yang Feng, "Yang Feng, take them and escape. I can only hold them off for a day at most." As a strong divine force rank god, Zhuge Ding is extremely powerful. If it was one-on-one, he could defeat an infinity warlock rank blazing angel. But the two infinity warlock rank blazing angels are Dawn blazing angels who control the law of Dawn and angel force. Two Dawn blazing angels are enough to defeat Zhuge Ding. Coupled with the intermediate infinity warlock rank Jin Mushuan, Zhuge Ding can barely hold off these three powerhouses for a day. After a day, if Zhuge Ding doesn't escape, then he will die here. As long as Yang Feng takes his people and escapes, the remaining infinity warlock rank powerhouses can easily escape as well. Curtain of the Night. Yang Feng smiled faintly and waved his hand, and the strong divine force grade god armament Curtain of the Night suddenly flew out and instantly enveloped the land in endless night. Zhu Lai was startled, but soon discovered that apart from being blind, his other senses have not been weakened. He sneered in his heart at once, "Idiot! Even if infinity warlocks can't see, their other senses are enough to support them in battle." What a stupid fool! In a breath of time, Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he appeared in front of Zhu Lai and slashed at Zhu Lai with the level 8 secret treasure sword of the Dark Dragon. Idiot, I've been waiting for you to deliver yourself to me. Go to hell. Zhu Lai smiled ferociously, turned around, and waved his hand, and the level 9 secret treasure Wicked Bone Banshee Queen dart suddenly flew out and turned into a black ray shooting towards Yang Feng. Evil Bone Banshees were rare evil gods of the evil god plane. Adult Evil Bone Banshees possessed glorious Dawn Warlock rank strength and above, and could innately manipulate the bone essence of other life forms and were proficient in the law of bones. Once an adult Wicked Bone Banshee Queen dart is a Warlock Monarch rank existence. Once hit by them, even Holy Spirit Warlock rank powerhouses will have their bone marrow extracted. The level 9 secret treasure Wicked Bone Banshee Queen dart is a wicked secret treasure refined from the extraordinary life form Wicked Bone Banshee Queen's spine and added countless precious materials. Even if it is a Warlock Monarch rank powerhouse, if they are hit by the Wicked Bone Banshee Queen dart, all their bone marrow and power will be extracted. At the same time, the bone marrow and bone will explode inside the body of the target and take a strange shape. Even Warlock Monarchs with undying characteristics will be seriously injured and lose most of their power. Yang Feng is already prepared. The mountain shield he obtained from the Brilliant Sage's relic suddenly flew out, and mountain projections suddenly appeared and blocked in front of him like a giant shield. When the Wicked Bone Banshee Queen dart stabbed into the mountain projections, it was immediately stuck by the mountain force, unable to budge. Almost at the same time, Yang Feng's god clone silently emerged from the darkness and stabbed the strong divine force Great God Armament Dagger of the Night into Zhu Lai's back. When the strong divine force Great God Armament Dagger of the Night stabbed into Zhu Lai's back, countless curses of the Night Divine System erupted in an instant and eroded Zhu Lai's body. Zhu Lai, who only possesses Junior Infinity Warlock rank cultivation base, rotted, aged, oozed pus, and his eyes widened. Unable to utter a word, a look of horror and despair on his face. Chapter 740. If it was a strong divine force rank god, they could burn divine force and have a 20% chance of resisting the curse of the Dagger of the Night. Zhu Lai is just an ordinary Junior Infinity Warlock. It is impossible for him to resist the stab of the Dagger of the Night held by the strong divine force rank Ruler of the Night. In less than 5 seconds, his soul decayed and turned into a corpse covered with countless curses. The Ruler of the Night is a top assassin. Compared to the Ruler of the Night and the Ruler of Shadows of other planes, although they are slightly weaker in head-on combat, but they are strong divine force rank gods most adept at assassination. At the time, if the Ruler of the Night hadn't taken the initiative to enter Yang Feng's divine country and kill him in one fell swoop, Yang Feng wouldn't have been able to do anything to him. Unless it is a Holy Spirit Warlock or a secret treasure that specifically restrains the divine force authority of the Ruler of the Night, it is extremely difficult to kill an assassin god who wields the authority of the Night. After killing Zhu Lai with a sneak attack, Yang Feng's god clone entered the night and silently appeared behind the Blazing Angel, who is fighting Yu Yan. With the Dagger of the Night in his hand, he stabbed the Blazing Angel in the back. Divine decree, there is light. The Blazing Angel roared, burned divine force frantically, unleashed the law of dawn, and dazzling light of dawn spread in all directions. The divine domain of the night formed by the god artifact curtain of the night was immediately broken by the resplendent light of dawn. Illuminated by the light of dawn, the night divine force around Yang Feng's god clone was neutralized and emitted wisps of black smoke. Night divine force is greatly restrained by dawn divine force, which is why the light of dawn can easily dispel night divine force. Divine decree, evil gods shall be judged by divine decree. The Blazing Angel roared, and a strange ray suddenly shot out, hit Yang Feng's Ruler of the Night clone, and engraved an evil god mark on it. As soon as the evil god mark appeared on Yang Feng's Ruler of the Night clone, the speed of the Blazing Angel suddenly increased by 30%, and the Blazing Angel's sword in his hand blazed with fire of purification and slashed towards Yang Feng. The God of Dawn wielded the power of dawn, and the seraphs under his command were all angels of dawn. They wielded part of the power of dawn, and the flame of purification was the manifestation of the power of dawn. Under the power of the flame of purification, any existence would be directly purified and turned into dust. The face of Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar flickered, and he blocked the blazing angel's sword with the dagger of the night. Dang! The divine power of dawn and the divine power of night clashed madly, twisting and weaving. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar was flung hundreds of meters away. As if maggots, the fire of purification wrapped around Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar, as if to burn it to ashes. The Kingdom of Dawn's power is indeed extraordinary. No wonder the Kingdom of Dawn's king couldn't stop him from banning it. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar sighed in admiration and burned divine force frantically, and night divine force surged and turned into black gas that extinguished the purification flames. The power of dawn can purify everything. There is almost no force that can restrain it. At the time, after the Dawn Lord became the Warlock Emperor of the 8th Warlock dynasty, he went on a punitive expedition to planes with Dawn Lord gods, slayed them one by one, and issued an order that gods of other planes are not allowed to form the divine authority of the Dawn Lord. Even though the Warlock Emperor of the 8th Warlock dynasty issued an order, but there are still people in many planes who covet the authority of the Dawn Lord, promote to gods of the Dawn Lord, and then are slain by the Warlock Emperor. When the Blazing Angel wanted to pursue Yang Feng, he was stopped by Yu Yan, and the two sides continued to engage in a frenzied fight. Alexia equipped the fallen angel armor, turned into a black stream of light, surged with formidable dark force, flew towards the Dawn Blazing Angel, and engaged him in a frenzy. As soon as Alexia joined the battle, the Dawn Blazing Angel fell into a disadvantageous position. However, he radiates dazzling light of dawn at all times, and the fire of purification is extremely troublesome. Even though Alexia joined the battle, it is still very difficult to kill him. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar frantically burned divine force, and the curtain of the night released dark light that instantly devoured all light in an area of dozens of kilometers in radius. The protective light of the three blazing angels was also suppressed to a distance of 3 meters from them. In an instant, Yang Feng strangely appeared behind Jin Mushuan and silently stabbed the dagger of the night in his hand towards Jin Mushuan's heart. Jin Mushuan's trigger's secret treasure shone brightly and formed colorful magic shields. However, in front of the dagger of the night, the magic shields were easily torn apart like paper, and the dagger of the night stabbed into Jin Mushuan's heart virtually in an instant. In an instant, all kinds of terrifying curses of the night pantheon erupted, and Jin Mushuan's complexion immediately declined, his body became covered in pustules, and his eyes shimmered with despair. Damn it, light of purification! A blazing angel roared and pointed at Jin Mushuan with the blazing angel sword in his hand, and pure light of dawn entered Jin Mushuan. Under the purification of the divine light of dawn, Jin Mushuan's body seemed to be burned by flames, emitting bursts of black smoke. The water in his body evaporated, and his face twisted in pain. However, the various curses in the dagger of the night also collapsed and disappeared. The dagger of the night buzzed and was bounced away from Jin Mushuan's body. The dagger of the night is a strong divine force-grade assassination secret treasure. It is eternally enchanted with countless curses of the night pantheon. It can pierce all magic shields, seal teleportation spells, and cast various curses on the target. However, it is not strong enough to fight head-on, and is easily restrained by the authorities of dawn and light. As if mad, the two blazing angels burned their divine force and slashed with their swords. Containing the power to purify everything, the fire of purification slashed at the hurricane Zhuge Ding has transformed into. Wherever the sword rays reached, the violent hurricane will be purified into pure particles. Every time a part of the violent hurricane is purified into pure particles, Zhuge Ding's injuries will worsen by a notch. However, he is a veteran peerless expert of the Battle Demon sect. He forcibly burned his divine force and entangled the two blazing angels, making it difficult for them to advance. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar fluttered, countless runes appeared, and the darkness divine force on him faded in an instant. His eyes turned bloodshot, and wisps of bloody divine force diffused around him. The strong divine force grade scimitar of massacre appeared in his hand. As soon as Yang Feng grasped the scimitar of massacre, as if he has become the embodiment of the god of massacre who has experienced countless battles and slaughtered countless life forms, he appeared in front of the seriously injured Jin Mushuan in an instant and slashed at him. When the blade slashed out, Jin Mushuan felt as if the space around him was completely frozen, and the world was shrouded in blood. His mind blurred, and a red line appeared on his body. No, as soon as the red line appeared, Jin Mushuan's eyes dimmed, and then he was swallowed by endless darkness, and he lost consciousness. Yang Feng grabbed Jin Mushuan's body and put it into his storage ring. The god of massacre wields the authority of massacre and is proficient in countless methods of massacre. The god armament scimitar of massacre has slain who knows how many powerhouses and devoured their souls. Moreover, Jin Mushuan was seriously injured by the dagger of the night, which is why Yang Feng was able to kill him with a single strike. After the battle in the divine country, Yang Feng's god clone refined the godheads of many strong divine force rank gods, making his battle prowess even stronger. The more godheads a god refines, the more difficult it is for a god to break through. Yang Feng's god clone refined the godheads of the god of fire, the god of war, the god of massacre, and the ruler of the night, making his strength skyrocket. However, in this way, it is almost impossible for him to promote to a mighty divine force rank god by relying on his own comprehension. After Yang Feng's avatar transformed into the god of massacre form, his figure fluttered, and, virtually covered in blood, he appeared behind the blazing angel fighting Alexia and Yu Yan in an instant and slashed at the blazing angel with a blade containing countless exquisite laws of massacre. The dawn blazing angel is worthy of being the strongest weapon of war. Despite Yu Yan's spear piercing his wing, at the critical moment, he pulled back his sword and forcibly blocked the blade strike of Yang Feng's incarnation of the god of massacre. Yang Feng's true body watched the three powerhouses besieging the blazing angel and couldn't help but praise, amazing. Blazing angels are said to be able to contend against warlock-ranked powerhouses who have established a virtual world inside them. Unfortunately, the Dawn Angel restrains fallen angels too much. Otherwise, the fight wouldn't have ended up like this. Alexia is a blazing angel among fallen angels. After equipping the fallen angel armor, her strength surpasses that of the Dawn Blazing Angel. However, the Dawn Blazing Angel's authority completely restrained the fallen angel, causing her to display strength that was even weaker than the Dawn Blazing Angel's. Yang Feng's true body extended his hand, and a 30-meter-long pitch-black hand appeared out of thin air and shot towards Qi Xianer. In this area, the genius disciples of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead have been killed by Battle Demon Sect's geniuses one by one, leaving only Qi Xianer alive. Faced with Yang Feng's pitch-black hand, Qi Xianer clenched her silver teeth, world force diffused from her body, and she transformed into a great sun golden crow exuding quasi-bright world warlock rank fluctuations of power. She opened her mouth, and golden crow fire slammed into the pitch-black hand and blasted it to pieces. Chapter 741. World Force. I didn't expect that I would make a mistake. Heart of Fury, to have such a warlock genius like you, no wonder you dare to fight a genius disciple of the Battle Demon Sect. Yang Feng's eyes showed the shade of surprise, and he smiled lightly, took a step forward, blurred, appeared on the head of the Great Sun Golden Crow, and extended his hand to slap it. The Great Sun Golden Crow that Qi Meixian has transformed into suddenly felt a sense of danger. She struggled frantically, opened her mouth, and fired a beam of fire that can burn bright world warlocks to ashes barreling towards Yang Feng. Suddenly, a black whirlpool appeared in Yang Feng's right hand. When the pillar of fire entered the black whirlpool, it was completely devoured by the black whirlpool. Yang Feng's hand slapped the nearly 100-meter-long head of the Great Sun Golden Crow. Boom! The Great Sun Golden Crow that Qi Meixian has transformed into fell heavily to the ground, blasted open a huge crater like a meteor, and sprayed out a large mouthful of blood. Countless black runes filled the Great Sun Golden Crow that Qi Meixian has transformed into and completely sealed her power. After a dozen-plus breaths of time, the Great Sun Golden Crow that Qi Meixian has transformed into disappeared completely, and she reverted to her human form. Submit to me and live, or die. Two streams of black gas lifted the seriously injured Qi Meixian, whose power has been sealed, like snakes. At the same time, Yang Feng's cold and unfeeling voice entered her ears. Qi Meixian hesitated for a while, and then finally gritted her teeth and said, "I am willing to submit. Warlocks have a long lifespan, are knowledgeable, and enjoy glory, splendor, and wealth. Naturally, they don't want to die. Only warlocks who have received great kindness from their sects and are carefully nurtured along the way will have a sense of identity with their sects and be willing to live and die with them." The Heart of Fury is a warlock group that believes in the law of the jungle, and its internal strife is extremely fierce. Qi Meixian has experienced countless struggles, experienced countless hardships, and obtained countless fortuitous encounters before she became a peerless genius of the Heart of Fury. She doesn't have a high sense of identity with the Heart of Fury, which is why she chose to surrender so easily. There was a flash of surprise in Yang Feng's eyes. He took out a vial of liquid metal nanorobot elixir and injected it into Qi Meixian. Although the liquid metal nanorobot elixir has no effect on powerful existences who have already promoted to the Bright World Warlock rank, but it is very effective on Qi Meixian, who is a pinnacle glorious sun warlock. After suppressing Qi Meixian, Yang Feng's gaze fell on the center of the battle. At this time, the battlefield was divided into two parts. In one part, two blazing angels besieged Zhuge Ding, while in the other part, Yang Feng's god clone, Alexia, and Yu Yan besieged a blazing angel. Besieged by Yang Feng's god clone, the blazing angel, who is barely holding on, may be defeated by the three powerhouses at any time. "It's time." Yang Feng's true body smiled and flicked his wrist, and the Shoot the Heavens bow appeared in his hand. The 9 small worlds in his body madly extracted world force and poured it into the Shoot the Heavens bow in his hand, and a terrifying middle stage bright world pressure spread in all directions. Bright World Warlock. Junior disciple brother Yang Feng has promoted to a Bright World Warlock. Bright World Warlock, how is that possible? When the genius disciples of the Battle Demon sect sensed the fearsome breath, they were stunned, unable to believe their eyes. A Bright World Warlock rank powerhouse can already become a great elder of the Battle Demon sect, enjoy endless honor, obtain great power, and wield the life and death of countless life forms. Zhang Hanshan's beautiful eyes flashed with enigmatic light, and she showed a complicated smile. "Bright World Warlock, that's really amazing." Zhou Feng said with a wry smile, "People really can't be compared." Zhui Yifan sighed lightly, "Bright World Warlock, that's a gap that makes people feel so desperate that they can't even feel jealous." Zhang Hanshan, Zhou Feng, and Zhui Yifan are personal disciples of the Battle Demon sect's 4 great elders. They are peerless geniuses selected from among the hundreds of thousands of geniuses in the Battle Demon sect. They watched Yang Feng surpass them step by step as a great warlock, and now he is promoted to a Bright World Warlock. Zhang Hanshan's group of 3 had a fortuitous encounter in the Time Sky City and obtained an opportunity to promote to a glorious Sun Warlock. However, it is extremely difficult for a Moonlight Warlock to promote to a glorious Sun Warlock. As for a Bright World Warlock, it is even more difficult. Now that they saw Yang Feng promote to a Bright World Warlock, they were both excited and envious. Their feelings were very complicated. The blazing angel who is fighting Yang Feng's god clone suddenly had an alarm in his heart, and he looked up in Yang Feng's direction. In a flash, an arrow capable of shattering space and suppressing everything shot towards the blazing angel like a meteor. The blazing angel, who is doing his best to fight the 3 powerhouses, barely managed to form a dawn-light shield in front of him. The Shoot the Heavens bow's arrow pierced through the blazing angel in an instant and nailed him to the ground. Yu Yan silently recited an incantation and flicked her wrist, and the level 9 secret treasure lock dragon nail suddenly flew out and pierced into the blazing angel, sealing his power completely. Retreat. The complexion of the 2 blazing angels, who have already seriously injured Zhuge Ding, changed dramatically. They brandished their swords and forcibly cut apart the violent hurricane Zhuge Ding has turned into 2 rays of dawn, and flew away. At this moment, countless 7-color petals appeared in the void. The countless 7-color petals superimposed on each other, surged with power, and formed a 7-color rose seal boundary. The 7-color rose garden's garden master suddenly appeared. Sitting among the countless seven-color rose petals with the seven-color rose garden in hand, she has an otherworldly temperament, looking like a beautiful goddess who has descended to the secular world. The two dawn-blazing angels brandished their swords and slashed at the seven-color rose seal boundary. With the power to incinerate everything, fearsome fire of purification burned the countless seven-color rose petals to ashes and cut open a path in the seven-color rose seal boundary. But the seven-color rose petals continued to appear and blocked the path of escape in an instant. With a flash of black light, Alexia's figure fluttered, and she appeared in front of a blazing angel and slashed at him with her sword. Yu Yan's figure fluttered, and she turned into a stream of light and blocked the other dawn-blazing angel. Yang Feng's god clone changed again, and his divine force fluctuations changed into that of the god of war. God of war domain, comprehensive strengthening. Yang Feng's god clone barked, and divine force halos appeared on all of Yang Feng's allies. The divine force halos buffed strength, agility, morale, soul force, and other powers. Even if an ordinary person was buffed by the various divine force halos, they would still possess the power to kill a level 1 warlock. Boosted by the divine force halos, the strength of Yu Yan's, Alexia's, Zhuge Ding's, and Yang Feng's god clones suddenly soared by 30%. Alexia was originally suppressed by the dawn-blazing angel's divine force. But after being buffed by the divine force halos of the god of war, she immediately suppressed the other dawn-blazing angel. Among the 4 strong divine force rank gods, the ruler of the night was the strongest in terms of assassination, the god of massacre was the strongest in terms of direct combat, the god of fire was the strongest in terms of destructive power, and the god of war was the strongest in terms of assistance. Besieged by the 4 powerhouses, the 2 dawn-blazing angels were at a complete disadvantage. The 7-color rose flowers flower master's 7-color rose flower sealing barrier completely sealed the 2 blazing angels within the barrier space, making it difficult for them to escape. Suddenly, an ultimate form 6-winged sun-devouring centipede flew out from behind Yang Feng's god clone, opened its maw, and fired a beam of bright sun god fire barreling towards a blazing angel. The blazing angel dodged frantically, but half of his wings were burned to ashes by the sun god fire. At this moment, bloody light shone behind Yang Feng's god clone, and Yang Feng's kindred Grand Duke avatar suddenly flew out, slashed the blazing angel with the divine blood sword in hand, and cut open a deep wound on the blazing angel at lightning speed. A large amount of golden blood flew out of the blazing angel's wound and entered the divine blood sword. Zhuge Ding transformed into a gale and formed a huge wind blade containing divine power of wind that slashed at the blazing angel and cut off half of the blazing angel's arm. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yu Yan stepped forward and stabbed her spear into the blazing angel's body. Taking advantage of this, she inserted the other level 9 secret treasure, the locking dragon nail, into the blazing angel's body, sealing it. The level 9 secret treasure lock dragon nail is a small secret treasure that can seal the power of infinity warlocks. The Great Cloud Dynasty's secret treasure division can refine more than 100 such secret treasures every year. Although the lock dragon nail can be easily broken by infinity warlocks, but once it is inserted into the body, then even quasi-warlock monarch rank powerhouses won't be able to break free from the seal. Even infinity warlocks who have formed a virtual world will have their virtual world sealed, unable to provide any power. You heretics, you dare to blaspheme the great Dawn Lord's emissary. Then let's die together. The eyes of the remaining blazing angel flashed with anger, his breath became unstable, and his heart thumped, and he wanted to blow himself up. The instant explosion of an angel's heart is extremely terrifying. If hit, the explosion of an infinity warlock rank blazing angel can even seriously injure a warlock monarch rank powerhouse. At this moment, an arrow flew out from the shoot the heavens bow of Yang Feng's true body, pierced through the last blazing angel, and nailed him to the ground. Yu Yan stepped forward and added another lock dragon nail to seal the blazing angel. Chapter 742. After suppressing all the enemies, 7-color Rose Garden's Garden Master, Yang Feng's God Avatar, Kindred Avatar, Ultimate Form 6-winged sun-devouring centipede, Alexia, and Yu Yan blurred into motion and disappeared. The power hidden in the dark would make people even more fearful, and they would not be able to figure out the details. Alexia and Yu Yan's all-out fighting stance can easily remind people of Undying Mountain's fallen Blazing Angels and Great Cloud Dynasty's traitor Marshal Yu. Since Yang Feng doesn't want to deceive Zhuge Ding, he can only let them leave quickly and maintain a sense of mystery. Zhuge Ding looked at the Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses who suddenly disappeared and suddenly asked, "Who are they?" Yang Feng replied with a smile, "They are all my friends." Zhuge Ding gave Yang Feng a meaningful look. "You really have a group of good friends." Zhuge Ding looked at the three sealed Dawn Blazing Angels, frowned, and a dignified shade flashed in his eyes, and he asked solemnly, "What do we do with these guys?" The three Dawn Blazing Angels claim to be emissaries of the 8th Warlock Dynasty's Dawn Lord. If this is the case, then the Battle Demon sect may be wiped out by the other party at any time. Each of the Zhangji Plains 8 Warlock Emperors is extremely powerful. At the same time, they are ruthless and merciless. In his later years, the Dawn Lord became even more famous for his cruel methods. In the end, he suffered a backlash and was besieged by countless Zhangji Plains warlocks while he was weak. Although Zhuge Ding and Yang Feng worked together to quell the three Blazing Angels, but once he calmed down, he felt that the situation is very tricky. Yang Feng's eyes flashed fiercely, and he said coldly, "At this point, we might as well go all the way. Destroy Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead as fast as possible. Seize all their resources. Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead will never expect us to act at this time." For Yang Feng to bring so many Infinity Warlock ranked powerhouses here, he harbored some ill intentions. If the Infinity Warlocks of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead dare to play any tricks, he can kill them directly. Every Infinity Warlock possesses great wealth. At the same time, every Infinity Warlock is a moving treasure trove. Now that the two Infinity Warlocks of Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead have been wiped out, Yang Feng suddenly had the intention to annex them. Infinity Warlocks are the core and strongest fighting force of a Warlock group. Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead, the two Warlock groups, have to join forces to be able to contend against the Battle Demon sect. Now that they have lost two Infinity Warlocks, they are at their weakest. Yang Feng would never let such an opportunity slip by. Zhuge Ding furrowed his brows and hesitated for a moment before saying, "Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead control two 4th-grade planes, Anta and Bola respectively. Although the Anta plane and the Bola plane are both low-class level 4 planes, far inferior to our Battle Demon sect's upper-class level for Battle Demon plane, there are still many gods in those two planes. Moreover, they had the support of the origin will of the plane in this plane, so it wouldn't be easy to take them down. This kind of major event must be decided by a meeting of the Great Elders. There are more than a dozen Great Elders in the Battle Demon sect. It is impossible for one person to decide a war against a warlock group of the same rank." Yang Feng's eyes flickered for a while, and then he uttered with a smile, "In that case, forget it. Since the Battle Demon sect isn't willing to take action, it's better for Yang Feng. As long as he can capture the planes where Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead are located, everything in the two Grade 4 planes will belong to Yang Feng's Undying Mountain." "Zhuge Ding, I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first." With the three sealed Dawn Blazing Angels in hand, Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and then he disappeared. "Let's go." Zhuge Ding took a deep look at Yang Feng's back, and then took the genius disciples of the Battle Demon sect aboard the Battle Demon vessel and disappeared from the celestial body with a heavy heart. In Astral Boundary, a huge fleet composed of 3 blazing sun battlestars, 30 Star Destroyer battlestars, and 60 interstellar carriers flew slowly. In a laboratory on the huge blazing sun battlestar, Yang Feng stood in front of a crystal pillar and looked inside. There is a person sealed inside the crystal pillar. It is a Dawn Blazing Angel. Yang Feng looked at the Dawn Blazing Angel nailed by the Lock Dragon nail and asked unhurriedly, "I am the Battle Demon sect's Yang Feng. What's your name?" Each and every one of the Dawn Blazing Angel's memories was completely sealed by an incomparably powerful power of Dawn. Even Yang Feng, who is proficient in countless secret methods, cannot break the power of Dawn and obtain information from the brain of the Dawn Blazing Angel. The Dawn Blazing Angel said with a ferocious smile, "You don't need to get any information from me. Since you dare to attack us, the great Dawn Lord won't let you get away with it. All the heretics who are related to you will die." Yang Feng sneered, "Blazing angels subordinated to the Dawn Lord, you don't even dare to tell me your name? Or are you saying that the subordinates of the King of Dawn are all cowards like you?" The blazing angel sneered, "My name is Seabass, I am a dawn blazing angel subordinated to the great Dawn Lord." Yang Feng smiled and continued to ask, "Seabass, why did you come with Heart of Fury and them to make things difficult for the Battle Demon sect?" The dawn blazing angel just sneered. Without saying a word, he stared at Yang Feng with resentment in his eyes. Yang Feng then asked a few more questions, but the dawn blazing angel didn't say a word and just sneered. Even when Yang Feng threatened to destroy his angel heart, he didn't react. Seeing that the interrogation had no effect, Yang Feng couldn't help but frown. Sure enough, the blazing angels created by gods are really troublesome. As the best weapons of war in the hands of the gods, those angels would be loyal to their gods before they fell. Other powerhouses can kill them, but they can't make them betray their gods. It was precisely because of this that most of the gods chose angels as their strongest weapons of war. Moreover, the most trusted ones of the gods were the seraphim that they created with their own hands. Yang Feng frowned slightly. It seems that a fallen angel pool must be created as soon as possible. As long as the fallen angel pool is successfully created and the 3 blazing angels are contaminated, I will be able to get information about the Dawn Lord and have 3 Infinity Warlock rank blazing angels under my command. After this battle, it seems that I have to make a trip to the Endless Abyss. The appearance of fallen angels was the result of demonic creatures in the Endless Abyss polluting the gods' angels and creating the first batch of fallen angels. To refine a fallen angel pool, you can only enter the Endless Abyss to look for materials. The power that fallen angels controlled was the power of darkness, while the power of angels depended on the different gods. They could choose to buff the power of different gods, and angels were far more loyal than fallen angels. Therefore, gods like to create angels the most, while the abyssal lords of the Endless Abyss can only create fallen angels. The 3 dawn blazing angels are loyal and devoted to the mysterious Dawn Lord. They are more difficult to deal with than gods. Yang Feng can only think of a way to transform them into fallen angels, and then get the secrets of the Dawn Lord from them. The huge fleet flying in the distorted astral boundary suddenly decelerated, and then hit a twisted membrane. The twisted membrane set off ripples, and the huge fleet suddenly passed through the twisted membrane and appeared in the space. A blue celestial body about 10 times the size of Earth, but 7 times the size of Battle Demon Plane, appeared in front of Yang Feng. In an instant, the main cannons of the Blazing Sun interstellar battleships and Star Destroyer interstellar battleships that had already been fully charged flashed. Terrifying beams of light that could destroy everything descended from the sky and blasted toward the planet like divine punishment. In the center of Red Rage Plain, there is a floating continent. The floating continent is the headquarters of the Heart of Fury Warlock Group. There are warlock towers built on the floating continent, and countless warlock geniuses of Heart of Fury live there. The dazzling beams of light descended from the sky and bombarded the floating continent. The tallest few 10-story warlock towers collapsed and shattered under the bombardment of the Star Destroyer battlestars. The remaining 9-story warlock towers also collapsed and shattered under the bombardment of the Star Destroyer battlestars' main artilleries. What's going on? Enemy attack! Enemy attack! There's an enemy! Damn it! Who the hell is it? How dare they sneak attack us? Quick, activate the defensive barrier! Countless rays of light shone, and countless warlocks flew out from the floating continent and flew in different directions. The secondary artilleries of the Star Destroyer battlestars and the Blazing Sun battlestars shone brightly, and a dense rain of light barreled towards the warlocks. Hundreds and thousands of warlocks were hit by the rain of light, their magic shields were broken, and they were run through like ants. Some warlocks with death substitution secret methods were lucky enough to escape, while even more warlocks died directly. This is the headquarters of Heart of Fury. Who are you people? A furious roar came from the floating continent where Heart of Fury is located, and Infinity Warlock rank fluctuations of power spread from the floating continent. We are from Undying Mountain. People of Heart of Fury who surrender will be spared, or else die. A cold voice came from the sky, and densely packed fighter jets and battle robots flew out from the interstellar carrier like a tide, forming a terrifying torrent of steel that flew downwards. Chapter 743. What big talk! Since the Undying Mountain wants to throw away their lives, then I'll fulfill your wish. A furious voice came from the floating continent where Heart of Fury's headquarters is located. In the outer space of the Red Rage Plain, stars suddenly lit up one by one. Divine kingdoms flickered and their figures appeared. A Grade 4 plane can accommodate no more than 100 gods. As an inferior Grade 4 plane, the Red Rage Plane can accommodate 60 gods. At this time, 23 stars lit up. They are the divine countries of the Red Rage Plane's 23 gods. One after another, huge warships filled with countless angels flew out of the divine countries. Heart of Fury has occupied the Red Rage Plane for thousands of years, but only 23 people have ignited their divine fire and become gods. Among the 23 people, only 3 were mid-level divine power rank deities. There was not a single strong divine power rank deity. However, the Divine Legion has forged a lot. In the god system, if you don't have the godhead of a strong divine force rank god, then it will be very difficult to become a strong divine force rank god even if you have the faith of a Grade 4 plane's intelligent life form. Of course, as long as warlocks grasp the method to ascend to godhood, it will be even easier to become a feeble divine force rank god than to become a moonlight warlock. The higher one went, the more difficult it was to make progress in the divine system. Many gods of the great divine power level only specialized in one kind of authority and one priesthood, in order to purify their own power and obtain the opportunity to advance to the great divine power level. The Divine Legion has been dispatched. These damned invaders are dead for sure. Go to hell. The warlocks hiding in the defensive barriers behind the floating continent revealed looks of excitement when they saw the dense crowd of angels rise into the air. Angel legions are known as the strongest weapons of the gods. Their fighting strength has been tested in countless wars. As long as the angel heart isn't destroyed, they won't die. Moreover, their combat experience can be accumulated and they will evolve to become stronger and stronger. The dense crowd of Type 2 Undyings blurred, and then rushed into the midst of the Divine Legion, leaving afterimages behind. A Type 2 Undying plunged into the angel army like a black line, shuttling through the angel army. Wherever the black line passed, the angel hearts were sliced into pieces, turning into countless fragments that scattered on the ground. After the black thread crossed more than 10 kilometers in a row, a moonlight warlock rank fire-blazing angel suddenly erupted, slashed the Type 2 Undying with a sword imbued with the authority of fire, and cut the Type 2 Undying in half. Violent flames erupted and burned the Type 2 Undying to ashes. Blade rays shone, and the great warlock rank angels, whose main force was the angel army, fell like raindrops. Countless angels were chopped into pieces. Only the moonlight warlock rank angels could contend against the 4th generation battle robots. Countless angels were frantically fighting in the sky, but they were still being pushed back. Countless fragments of angels fell from the sky and scattered on the ground. Under the siege of the 4th generation battle robots, the angels disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. How is this possible? Angels are one of the strongest weapons of war in the world. How could they be defeated by those mechanical puppets? How is this possible? Those are angels. How could the strongest weapons of war be defeated by those mechanical puppets? When the warlocks of Heart of Fury saw this scene, their eyes shimmered with despair. Yang Feng swept the battlefield with a glance and revealed a smile. Not bad. It seems that this plane has cultivated a few outstanding blazing angels. On the starry sky battlefield, the angel army was almost immediately routed by Yang Feng's mechanical legion. However, amid the collapse, there are still 4 bright world warlock rank blazing angels fighting desperately to block Yang Feng's mechanical legion. However, if this continues, if the 4 bright world warlock rank blazing angels don't escape, they will be besieged and killed by Yang Feng's mechanical legion in the end. At this moment, 3 Infinity Warlock rank blazing angels opened hatches, and the Gale Giant, the Spacebreaker Dragon Whale, and the Scarlet Flame Feng Huang flew out in an instant. The Gale Giant took a step forward, countless runes flashed in his eyes, and gusts of wind shrouded him, forming a whirlwind blade that spun wildly. Accompanied by the law of wind, it appeared in front of a Bright World Warlock rank blazing angel and sent a fist barreling towards him. Countless wind blades barreled towards the Bright World Warlock rank blazing angel with overwhelming force. The blazing angel raised its sword to block, and sword rays containing the authority of nature slashed the Gale Giant's fist. The sword lights containing the power of nature were shattered by the Gale Giant's punch, and the blazing angel was sent flying. When the nature blazing angel was blasted away by the Gale Giant's fist, a swarm of Type 2 Undyings poured into the Angel Legion behind the nature blazing angel and unleashed a massacre. The Spacebreaker Dragon Whale opened its maw, swallowed a Berserk blazing angel, and sealed the Berserk blazing angel in an alternate space inside it. When the Scarlet Flame Feng Huang pounced, a water blazing angel could only avoid the Berserk Scarlet Flame Feng Huang, revealing the Angel Legion guarding behind it. As soon as the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons entered the fray, the Angel Legion could no longer resist and retreated in defeat, suffering heavy casualties. It's time! Yang Feng suddenly disappeared from the main seat of the warship, and then appeared in the void in an instant. Suddenly, the god armament curtain of the night flew out, turned into a night, and devoured the 4 Bright World Warlock rank blazing angels along with the space they are in. In an instant, Yang Feng's true body emerged from the night, teleported behind a nature blazing angel, and easily pierced through the nature blazing angel's defenses with the dagger of the night in his hand and stabbed him inside. Countless curses erupted in an instant, weakening the nature blazing angel, and then Yang Feng inserted a lock dragon nail into the blazing angel's body and sealed it. Although Yang Feng's true body can't manipulate the divine force of the night like a god clone can and become a peerless assassin who can assassinate Infinity Warlocks at will. However, he can still do all kinds of incredible things with the partial authority of the night of a god clone. A characteristic of gods is that they can bestow part of their authority to their divine chosen, God's darling, and saints. Yang Feng's true body can naturally obtain part of the authority bestowed by his god clone. In the night, with the help of the authority of the night, Yang Feng teleported and came and went like a ghost. Cooperating with the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons, he suppressed and sealed the remaining 3 blazing angels one by one. After the 3 Bright World Warlock rank blazing angels were quelled by Yang Feng, the dense mechanical legion descended from the sky and shot towards the Red Rage Plain's floating continent. The floating continent is the foundation of Red Rage Plain. Once the floating continent is breached, Yang Feng's mechanical legion can sweep through the divine countries of the gods one by one. The warlock towers on the floating continent lit up, and a dense number of barriers opened and resisted Yang Feng's mechanical legion. However, Yang Feng has already learned the location of the most important warlock towers on the floating continent through the Battle Demon sect's intelligence. Furthermore, he destroyed most of them before they were launched. The defense of the floating continent weakened a lot. The Blazing Sun Battlestar's main artillery is extremely powerful. Even if a Warlock Monarch rank powerhouse doesn't use a secret treasure, they will be seriously injured if they face it head-on. Moreover, with its extremely long range, it is most suitable as a weapon to break through fixed defenses. It is somewhat difficult for the Blazing Sun Battlestar to deal with ordinary Infinity Warlocks one-on-one, and it may not even be able to win against Bright World Warlocks. However, its destructive power is much greater than that of ordinary Infinity Warlocks. It is Yang Feng's siege weapon. Undying Mountain. Since you dare to attack our Heart of Fury, then go to hell. A crazed roar came from the floating continent where Heart of Fury's headquarters was located. The earth split open, and a 3,000-meter tall, golden-colored monster with a devilish head and incredibly thick legs suddenly appeared. It was radiating faint traces of holy light. As soon as the monster appeared, it took a step forward and appeared on a scorching sun interstellar battleship as if it had teleported. Then, it extended its foot and stomped down. Resplendent holy light shone, and fearsome power erupted and enveloped the entire battlestar. Boom! The Blazing Sun interstellar battleship, which could fly at the speed of light and was made of countless top-grade alloys, exploded just like that. As if thousands of nuclear warheads exploded at the same time, endless light and heat engulfed the gold-colored monster in an instant. Blazing Sun battlestars have a self-detonation function to begin with. Once they explode, the power of the explosion can seriously injure or even kill a Warlock Monarch rank powerhouse. No! A burst of miserable screams came from the floating continent. After the light dissipated, only two legs that looked like ordinary human legs exuding Holy Spirit Warlock rank fluctuations of power remained in the void. These are the legs of the brilliant sage. That terrifying monster used these two legs as its power source and was refined into a monster. A sealed box containing the left hand of the brilliant sage in Yang Feng's hand trembled, making him realize that the two legs belonged to the brilliant sage. Chapter 744. After the Gold Freak and Yang Feng's Blazing Sun battlestars perished together, the morale of Heart of Fury's warlocks plummeted. The frightening Mechanical Legion poured into Heart of Fury's floating continent like a tide and destroyed one warlock tower after another as if crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. An Infinity Warlock rank aura suddenly rose from the floating continent, and then disappeared. The Grand Elder escaped. We were abandoned. The Grand Elder escaped. We surrendered. We surrendered. Bursts of anguished screams and wails came from the floating continent down below. Yang Feng frowned slightly, and his eyes shimmered with a dignified shade. Escaped? What a decisive fellow. To be able to make a decision so quickly. How terrifying. Yang Feng only used a few Infinity Warlock rank weapons. The Infinity Warlock rank experts hid themselves, ready to besiege and kill the Infinity Warlock at any time. Once Heart of Fury's Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses dare to appear, they will definitely be besieged by Yang Feng's Infinity Warlock rank powerhouses. Infinity Warlocks are indeed difficult to kill, but that is in a one-on-one situation. 5 or 6 Infinity Warlocks besieging an ordinary Infinity Warlock, Yang Feng is quite confident. Red Rage Plane's plane will has already been analyzed by Battle Demon Sect, and Yang Feng's experts are already prepared. As such, he doesn't have to worry about plane will suppression. What a pity. Yang Feng just sighed regretfully, and then no longer cared about it. His attention shifted to the offensive of the Mechanical Legion. As long as Yang Feng's forces continue to grow, his Mechanical Legion will continue to grow stronger in a snowball fashion. It was precisely because of this that he would grab hold of all the forces that he could annex and continuously annex them to strengthen his own strength. Red Rage Plane is a Grade 4 plane. Once it is seized by Yang Feng, this plane will become his base. The escape of Heart of Fury's Great Elder caused the morale of Heart of Fury's warlocks to collapse. The remaining Moonlight Warlocks and Glorious Sun Warlocks cast secret methods and fled in other directions. As soon as the countless Type 2 Undyings entangled them, the other 4th-generation battle robots surrounded them and bombarded the powerhouses with various attacks, killing them one by one. Within the 23 divine kingdoms, rays of divine light flashed as gods flew out of their divine kingdoms. Without looking back, they used divine spells and flew into the astral boundary. Once a god leaves the plane where he ascended to godhood, his strength will continuously weaken. Their connection with their believers would also be weakened by more than 90%, making it difficult for them to absorb the power of faith. In the end, they might even die from the collapse of their divinity. However, when a warlock was promoted to a god, after leaving the plane, they could use a special secret method to shatter their divinity and abandon more than 99% of their power. There was still a chance for them to get rid of the shackles of a god and become a non-divine being. Of course, once one became a deity, not all deities would choose to shatter their divinity, abandon their divine body, and abandon everything they had. If a strong divine force rank god abandoned everything, they would likely end up as an ordinary person. They would have to practice cultivation from the beginning again, and after experiencing countless hardships and dangers, they may not be able to reach the Infinity Warlock realm. Seeing that the situation was far from reassuring, the 23 gods of Red Rage Plane knew that they couldn't compete with Yang Feng in Red Rage Plane, and so they chose to escape. A defeated army is like a landslide. The fierce battle lasted for 2 hours. After 2 hours, Red Rage Plains' floating continent was completely occupied by Yang Feng's mechanical legion. The huge mechanical legion seized the opportunity to attack the divine kingdoms of the 23 gods, capturing them one by one. The 23 gods fled in a hurry. In addition to some treasures, they couldn't take away a large number of petitioners, saints, angel pools, divine force crystals, and other resources. Destroy all these divine nations for me. Yang Feng looked at the star-like divine countries and smiled coldly. He spread the fingers of a hand, and a black vortex suddenly appeared. A swarm of devourers poured out of the black vortex and rushed towards the divine countries. Not long after, the divine kingdom began to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye. The divine countries of gods are refined from divine force, laws, semiplanes, and various rare materials. The devourers inside Yang Feng can devour anything. Every time they devour a divine country, they will become a fraction stronger. In Astral Boundary, a weak divine force rank god of Red Rage Plain was flying. Suddenly, his complexion changed dramatically, and he screamed in horror and despair, "No! My divine country! Damn it! Damn bastard! My divine country!" Along with the miserable screams, the weak divine force rank god spewed out a mouthful of gold blood, his aura weakened to the extreme, and he fell unconscious. Divine countries are closely related to gods. Every divine country is constructed by gods using their divine authority, countless resources, divine force crystals, laws, and even part of their soul. The closer the connection between a god and a divine country is, the greater the power of the divine country. Similarly, once a divine country is destroyed, the god will suffer a huge backlash. Wisps of distorted astral aura slowly seeped into the god's body, making him look twisted and ferocious. Before long, a ferocious-looking glorious sun astral freak mixed with astral force and part of divine force was born. Yang Feng's devourers devoured the 23 divine countries one by one. When the devourers devoured the 10th divine country, they split, and their numbers doubled. After the 23 divine countries were devoured by the devourers became more powerful. Devourers are one of the strongest Shizu weapons to begin with, and they are weapons that can evolve continuously. It is for this reason that Yang Feng gave the precious 23 divine countries to the devourers to devour. In the deepest part of Heart of Fury's floating continent headquarters, in front of a red gate engraved with countless runes stands a person. It is Yang Feng. Behind the red gate is Heart of Fury's treasury. Heart of Fury's great elder escaped with a plan. Who knows how many treasures in the treasury were swept away by him? A thought streaked across Yang Feng's mind, and he pushed open the gate of the treasury. At this time, as if a storm swept through the treasury, it is a mess. Most of the precious treasures were swept away, leaving only many magic crystals behind. Killing intent streaked past Yang Feng's eyes. He spread the fingers of a hand, and countless ant-like reconnaissance robots suddenly flew out and flew towards the treasury. That Heart of Fury's great elder is really a scoundrel. It would be great if he could be stopped and killed. The ant-like reconnaissance robots are linked to the database of Yang Feng's level 4 optical computer network. They can freely use the data in the database to analyze and search for treasures useful to Yang Feng. Suddenly, a flying ant sent a prompt. Yang Feng followed the prompt and saw a bead engraved with mysterious runes scattered on the ground. It doesn't emit any light. This is a dragon origin bead. It seems that my luck is pretty good. Yang Feng took a closer look at the bead, his heart stirred, and he revealed a smile. Dragon origin beads are strange existences formed when part of the soul of a dragon powerhouse converges with the life magic energy of heaven and earth after they die. If the dragon source pearl was absorbed by puppets refined from high-grade soul stones, they would be able to transform into existences similar to the dragon clan. Dragon origin beads are very rare. Yang Feng has occupied the Ligui province, Yu province, and Bright Moon province, yet he hasn't found such treasures. This shows how rare such treasures are. If the mechanical black dragon that has been following Yang Feng until now can only evolve to the pinnacle glorious sun warlock rank, it will be able to break through the bottleneck and evolve into a bright world warlock or even an infinity warlock rank existence. Yang Feng's mood became very good. He doesn't care that the most precious treasure in the treasury was taken away by the great Elder of Fury. With this dragon origin bead, I can have another infinity warlock rank powerhouse under my command. Grade 4 Plain Bora. In the outer space, spatial ripples appeared in the void, and a red figure flew out of the void and flew towards a floating continent in the Bora plain. As soon as the crimson figure appeared, it was as if a barrier had been triggered. Powerful auras swept past the crimson figure and they immediately knew the identity of the person who had arrived. Great Elder Yen Pengfei of Heart of Fury requests an audience. As soon as the red figure landed on the floating continent, wisps of infinity warlock rank fluctuations of power overflowed, and a middle-aged man dressed in a red warlock robe appeared. A gray ray flew out from the depths of the floating continent and enveloped Yen Pengfei, and he disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, Yen Pengfei appeared in a bright and luxurious palace. In the palace, there sits an old man dressed in a gray robe, with gray hair and beard, who looks like he is shrouded in darkness. The old man smiled faintly and said, "Old Yen, what brings you here?" This old man is Graveyard of the Dead's great elder Ning Wuxin, who is also an infinity warlock. There was a flash of resentment in Yen Pengfei's eyes, and he gritted his teeth and said, "Old Mo, our Heart of Fury was just destroyed." Graveness and killing intent flashed in Ning Wuxin's eyes, and he uttered coldly, "Who did it? The Battle Demon sect? Damn it, these bastards just besieged and killed two of our great elders, and then they attacked us. They're worse than pigs and dogs, they deserve to die." Both Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead have special secret methods. As such, they immediately learned of the death of their great elders. The reason why Yen Pengfei fled so decisively is because Zhu Lai was killed. Chapter 745. When Yen Pengfei thought of the dense mechanical legion, he shuddered and gritted his teeth, saying, "It's a force called Undying Mountain. They were the ones who attacked us. They brought an endless army of mechanical puppets to kill us and defeated our angel corps." Ning Wuxin's eyes shimmered with dignity, and he uttered solemnly, "Golems? Are they warlocks who specialize in the secret methods of the 6th warlock dynasty, Golem dynasty?" Among the Zhangji Plains 8 warlock dynasties, the Golem Legion of the 6th warlock dynasty, Golem dynasty, ran amok in the early stages of the Golem dynasty. But later on, when living golems appeared, the Golem Legion withdrew from the stage of history. This did not mean that the mechanical puppet army was weak, but rather that the cost of the living puppets was too low, far less than the resources consumed by the mechanical puppet army. In contrast, the Golem Legion withdrew from the stage of history. The warlocks who specialize in the Golem dynasty will never let go of the research of the Golem Legion. Yen Pengfei uttered, "I don't know." The other party came prepared. As soon as they appeared, they destroyed most of our warlock towers with warship-type weapons. After defeating our Angel Legion and destroying the Gold Holy Demon, I saw that the situation was far from good, and so I retreated. Ning Wuxin's eyes shimmered with dignity. The Gold Holy Demon was destroyed? The Gold Holy Demon is a gold freak refined from the legs of the brilliant sage coupled with alchemy and various spells. It is a fearsome existence that can fight against true infinity warlocks. The Scarlet Flame Fenghuang, Gale Giant, and other infinity warlock rank weapons in Yang Feng's hands can exert infinity warlock rank destructive power. However, if you want to fight a true infinity warlock, you need at least 4 of these weapons. The Gold Freak has the power to slay infinity warlocks. If it wasn't for the fact that it destroyed a blazing sun battlestar and was swallowed by the battlestar's explosion, Ong Feng would have to send at least 3 infinity warlock rank powerhouses like Alexia to kill it. Yen Pengfei uttered solemnly, "That's right. Old Mo, I suspect that the Undying Mountain colluded with the Battle Demon sect. Since they've already attacked Heart of Fury, it's very likely that their next target will be Graveyard of the Dead." Ning Wuxin smiled coldly. He looked at Yen Pengfei with a sense of superiority and said proudly, Our graveyard of the dead will not be destroyed so easily by those beasts. If they dare to come, I will definitely kill them all and show them the power of Graveyard of the Dead. Although Graveyard of the Dead and Heart of Fury had been friends for generations, Graveyard of the Dead was much stronger than Heart of Fury. Ning Wuxin is an intermediate Infinity Warlock rank powerhouse while Yan Pengfei is just a junior Infinity Warlock rank powerhouse. Although the two seem to be on equal footing, but in fact, Ning Wuxin is in charge. Now that Yan Pengfei did not even have the Heart of Fury, he had lost his foundation and had become a rogue cultivator. His status was naturally not comparable to that of Ning Wuxin, the Supreme Elder of the Graveyard of the Dead. Yan Pengfei raised his eyebrows slightly. He keenly sensed the sense of superiority hidden in Ning Wuxin's words. He had originally wanted to warn Ning Wuxin, but he swallowed the words back into his stomach. Ning Wuxin has just opened his mouth, when suddenly, a hair-raising premonition of danger welled up inside him, and he pointed at the sky. Powerful runes suddenly appeared on the roof of the palace and formed layers of magic shields. Boom! Amidst an earth-shattering explosion, an incomparably resplendent beam of light blasted onto the palace like divine punishment. Wherever the beam of light landed, everything was turned into ashes. Enemy attack! Damn it, there's an enemy! Panicked voices suddenly resounded in the palace, and magic barriers suddenly opened one after another. Boom! 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 The sound of huge explosions rang incessantly. Inside the palace, Ning Wuxin's face became gloomy and filled with killing intent. To dare attack my Graveyard of the Dead, what reckless fools! Old Yan, you have to help me kill all of these reckless fools. Yan Pengfei pondered for a while before gritting his teeth and saying, okay. Now that Yang Feng has captured Heart of Fury, Yan Pengfei has no foundation. From now on, Yan Pengfei will have to struggle as a rogue cultivator and have to rebuild his force. When warlocks practice cultivation to the Infinity Warlock realm, they will either choose to join a force, commit all kinds of evil and plunder resources, or choose to establish their own force. Otherwise, they won't be able to get enough cultivation resources. When Yan Pengfei thought of rebuilding his own force, killing intent welled up inside him. I am Lei Ming, the young master of Undying Mountain. Graveyard of the Dead, submit to me, or die. A frigid and domineering voice echoed in the space around Graveyard of the Dead. The warlocks and gods in Graveyard of the Dead heard the domineering and murderous voice. Two rays of light flew out from the depths of Graveyard of the Dead, stood proudly in the void, and Infinity Warlock rank fluctuations of power soared into the sky. Yan Pengfei focused his gaze and saw that the sky was filled with the seemingly endless mechanical army. In the sky, 48 stars shone brightly and revealed the divine country of the gods. A swarm of angels flew out of the divine country and fought with Yang Feng's mechanical legion. As soon as the ordinary angels came into contact with Yang Feng's mechanical legion, they disintegrated and turned into countless fragments that scattered in the air. Only some blazing angels above the Moonlight Warlock rank led the Angel Legion to resist and destroy one battle robot after another. The sound of explosions rang incessantly in the sky, and countless parts, corpses, and blood of angels fell from the sky and sprinkled on the ground. The gods of Graveyard of the Dead are much stronger than the gods of Heart of Fury. A total of 12 weak Divine Force rank gods and 2 intermediate Divine Force rank gods walked out of their divine countries, burned divine force, and enchanted the angels with various powerful divine spells. The angels enchanted by powerful divine spells have their fighting strength increased sharply. Ordinary angels enchanted by powerful divine spells even possess Starry Sky Warlock rank battle prowess. On the floating continent of Graveyard of the Dead, Graveyard of the Dead's warlocks recited incantations. Dragons, giants, devils, fiends, evil gods, devil insects, high elves, kindred, astral life forms, and other extraordinary life forms suddenly appeared. The strange demonic corpses rushed into the sky and engaged Yang Feng's mechanical legion. There are countless fighters in the sky. The extraordinary life forms have just taken off, when a rain of light shot out from the fighters and blasted the powerless extraordinary life forms to pieces. When Ning Wuxin saw the dense crowd of fighters and battle robots in the sky, his scalp turned numb, and his eyes shimmered with apprehension. So this is Undying Mountain. What a terrifying mechanical legion. The fighters and battle robots are unmanned mechanical golems. Not only do they possess amazing fighting strength, but their numbers are also terrifying. Ning Wuxin originally looked down on Yan Pengfei, who fled in the face of battle, but now his eyes shimmered with a dignified shade. At this moment, the doors of the 3 steel carriers opened, and the Gale Giant, the Spacebreaker Dragon Whale, and the Scarlet Flame Feng Huang, the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons flew out and plunged into battle. As soon as the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons entered the battle, even with the gods casting divine spells in the rear, the Angel Legion was still forced to retreat. The 2 intermediate divine force rank gods had no choice but to burn their divine force frantically and cast powerful divine spells barreling towards the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons. When the 2 intermediate divine force rank gods burned their divine force frantically, their strength suddenly soared, and they suppressed the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons. However, the doors of the 3 steel carriers opened again, and the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons, the 6-headed Gold Dragon, the Archaic Sacred Dragon, and the Archduke rank Archdevil, flew out and plunged into the battlefield. As soon as the 3 Infinity Warlock rank weapons entered the battlefield, the Angel Legion, which was already unable to hold on, retreated again and again, suffering heavy casualties. Eyes shot with blood, Ning Wuxin bellowed, "Undying Mountain, you bastards, you're dead. Annihilation Devil Body. Come out." Suddenly, from the shadows behind Ning Wuxin, a figure suddenly flew out. Holding the divine weapon, the Dagger of the Night, like a ghost, it pierced through the countless magic shields protecting his body and stabbed into his heart. Fearsome night divine force erupted in an instant, and various curses of the Night Pantheon appeared on Ning Wuxin. "You!" Ning Wuxin uttered a scream of horror, lost all his strength in an instant, and turned into a corpse. Strong divine force rank. Ruler of the Night. Yan Pengfei glanced at Yang Feng's god clone who assassinated Ning Wuxin, and fear welled up inside him. His figure fluttered, and he fled into the distance. Although he is a junior Infinity Warlock rank powerhouse, but against a strong divine force rank god, he is dead meat. Yang Feng's god clone has put on a special god armor secret treasure, and his god fluctuations have been adjusted to this world's god fluctuations. Although his strength has dropped by about 10% due to the plane suppression, but it is still enough to defeat Yan Pengfei. Yan Pengfei has just flown for hundreds of kilometers, when countless 7-color rose petals suddenly flew out and formed a 7-color rose barrier, trapping him inside. A tyrannical aura suddenly rose, and Yu Yan, who looks like a goddess of war, flew over from afar and blocked in front of Yan Pengfei. Chapter 746. When Yan Pengfei saw Yu Yan exuding advanced Infinity Warlock rank fluctuations of power, his face fell at once, and he shouted, "Stop! I am willing to surrender and submit to Undying Mountain's young master Lei Ming." Yang Feng's god clone is a strong divine force rank god, the ruler of the night. Yan Pengfei is locked up by the 7-color Rose Garden's garden master, and there is still Yu Yan, one of Great Cloud Dynasty's 8 marshals, outside. This made him make a prompt decision. Yu Yan uttered coldly, "Let me use the lock dragon nail to seal your life force." Yan Pengfei frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, "I'm Heart of Fury's Grand Elder, Yan Pengfei. As long as I submit to young Lord Thundercry, I'll be able to protect you. As long as I submit to young Master Lei Ming, young Master Lei Ming can easily master Heart of Fury. I can also have people take over Red Rage Plain to pacify the people and hand it over to Undying Mountain as soon as possible. At the very least, it will save you 100 years from taking over Red Rage Plain." When Yang Feng's true body aboard the warship heard this, his eyes shimmered with ridicule. Under normal circumstances, as Yan Pengfei said, it would take a lot of time and energy to completely annex a plane. However, Yang Feng's mechanical legion has a powerful artificial intelligence, which is controlled by the optical computer. Those key positions can be filled by intelligent robots. Therefore, the forces annexed by Yang Feng can quickly integrate into his force and transform into his power. Nurturing battle through battle, like a rolling snowball, constantly increasing their strength. This was the terror of the Shizu Mechanical Legion. If it wasn't for the incredible Holy Grade secret treasures and Empyrean Grade secret treasures in this world, Yang Feng would have already crushed all his enemies. The Shizu Mechanical Legion is very powerful. But in this universe, there are Warlock Monarch, Holy Spirit Warlock, and Warlock Emperor rank powerhouses. In particular, Holy Spirit Warlocks can suppress the destiny of a race by themselves. As long as a Holy Spirit Warlock takes action, Yang Feng's foundation in Sangji Plain will be uprooted, and he will have no choice but to retreat to lower planes such as Andrak Plain and Red Rage Plain. Otherwise, only death will await him. Holy Spirit Warlocks, even if they haven't formed a virtual world, are extremely powerful. In their race, they are invincible existences. It had been more than 100 million years since the birth of the first true ancestor in the God Blood Plane. In that 100 million years, the entire God Blood Plane had only given birth to 9 true ancestors. From this, it can be seen how difficult it is for a Holy Spirit Warlock to be born. Yen Pengfei, release your soul. Let my lord leave a soul imprint in your soul. Otherwise, you can die. With a flash of black light, Alexia, wearing the fallen angel armor blurred into motion, appeared behind Yen Pengfei, blocked his path of retreat and spoke with biting killing intent. When Yen Pengfei saw Alexia, his face flickered, an Infinity Warlock rank blazing angel. What a strong foundation, what ruthless methods. Infinity Warlock rank blazing angels are terrifying weapons that can contend against human warlock geniuses of the same rank who have established a virtual world inside them. They are not existences that an ordinary junior Infinity Warlock like Yen Pengfei can contend against. Yen Pengfei thought for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, "Fine. I'll open my soul and submit to you, young master." Infinity Warlocks are born from ordinary people. Once they are deprived of their power, they are no different from ordinary people. Except for some Infinity Warlocks, many Infinity Warlocks are greedy for life and afraid of death just like ordinary people. Such people are easy to subdue by Yang Feng. In the world of Warlocks, power has nothing to do with a Warlock's moral character, or good or evil. Yen Pengfei silently recited an incantation, and a projection that looks exactly like him and exudes soul aura suddenly flew out. The void distorted, and Yang Feng's true God Empyrean imprint suddenly flew out. Countless black chains flew out from the true God Empyrean imprint, stabbed into Yen Pengfei's soul, and formed a strange soul imprint in the depths of Yen Pengfei's soul. When the soul imprint took shape, Yen Pengfei felt a vague sense of danger in his soul, and he realized that his life and death are no longer under his control. Damn it! Retreat! When the intermediate divine force rank God of War saw that Ning Wuxin was insta-killed by Yang Feng's god clone as soon as he appeared, he roared at once, blurred into motion, and fled into the distance. An endless darkness swept towards that area, instantly engulfing the god of War of the Bola Plain. At the moment when the endless night engulfed the god of War, Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar silently appeared behind the god of War and stabbed the god of War in the heart with the dagger of the night in his hand. Before the god of War could even make a sound, he was eroded by the various curses of the god of War, and he lost the power to resist. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar stabbed with his hand into the forehead of the god of War and dug out his godhead. Yang Feng's ruler of the night avatar smiled and put the godhead away. The godhead of the god of War is exactly what I need. Gods are extremely powerful, but it is also extremely difficult for them to promote. To rely on the faith force of believers and their own understanding of a certain authority is 100 times more difficult than the promotion of a warlock. The fastest way for a god to promote is to devour the godhead of a god who has grasped the same authority. If Yang Feng can devour the godhead of a mighty divine force rank god, he can easily promote to a mighty divine force rank god. If he wants to promote to a mighty divine force rank god by devouring a strong divine force rank godhead, he needs at least 10 strong divine force rank godheads who have grasped the same authority. For Yang Feng's god clone, the godhead of an intermediate divine force rank god is of great use. The god of war may be able to tangle with Yang Feng's god clone head-on, but when he chose to escape, he exposed his back, which was how Yang Feng's god clone succeeded in assassinating him. In the starry sky, when the god of war died, the warlocks of Graveyard of the Dead lost their will to fight, and turned into streams of light that fled elsewhere. I surrender. I surrender. After a period of fighting, the warlocks of Graveyard of the Dead finally couldn't resist the siege of Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion and surrendered. Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion seized the floating continent and took full control of Bola Plain's floating continent. So this is the Death Devil body. It's really a dangerous weapon. Besides, it's refined from a part of the brilliant Great Holy's body. If it is fully activated, I'm afraid it will be even more difficult to deal with than the Gold Freak. Standing in front of a 100-meter-tall monster without a head, with hands and feet refined from the remains of Warlock Monarch rank extraordinary life forms, and a holy body embedded in the center of its body, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a dignified shade. In his storage treasure, the rest of the brilliant Great Holy's body resonated with the holy body embedded in the center of the Death Devil body. Clearly, that is the brilliant Great Holy's body. That Death Demon body was covered in all kinds of powerful seals. If it weren't for those seals, it would have been destroyed. Once it wakes up, it will release a terrifying life force field that can crush intelligent life forms level 3 Warlock rank and below. Regret flashed in Yang Feng's eyes. Unfortunately, I have an agreement with the brilliant Great Holy to help him resurrect. It seems that this weapon will have to be dismantled. With a wave of Yang Feng's hand, a swarm of devourers suddenly rushed towards the monster. Devoured by the devourers, the Death Devil body's various parts disintegrated inch by inch, and finally the brilliant Great Holy's body was decomposed. Yang Feng beckoned with a hand, and the brilliant Great Holy's body flew into his hand, and then was sealed in a jade box. After Yang Feng put away the jade box, a thought suddenly arose in his mind, and he was filled with apprehension towards the Great Holy Step Powerhouse. Great Holy Step Powerhouses are really scary. To be able to collect so many of their body parts, I don't know what spell this is. The brilliant Great Holy was an old monster from the first Warlock Dynasty era, who knows how many tens of thousands of years he has been dead. His body, which has a trace of immortality, is a top alchemy material, and has changed hands God knows how many times. For Yang Feng to be able to collect most of his body parts, it is clear that an incredible spell is at work. In any case, I intend to break the agreement, so he won't harm me. As soon as Yang Feng entered Graveyard of the Dead's treasury, he saw the treasury radiating treasure light, which contained all kinds of treasures collected by Graveyard of the Dead since its establishment. Yang Feng looked at Graveyard of the Dead's treasury, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. No matter how many times I look at the treasury of powerful warlock groups, I won't get tired of it. Every time he opens the treasury of a powerful warlock group, Yang Feng can get many useful treasures. It is because of this that he will destroy a powerful warlock group as long as he has a chance. In this way, he can get enough cultivation resources. Other warlock groups, even if they are several levels stronger than Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead, don't dare to rashly start a war with them. Once a war breaks out, it means that warlocks will die. Ordinary warlocks are fine, but if too many warlocks above the Moonlight Warlock rank die, it will harm the vitality of a warlock group. It is because of this that the Battle Demons sect doesn't dare to rashly start a war. With the huge Mechanical Legion as his backing, Yang Feng was able to crush his enemies all the way and capture Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead without any regard for the cost. Chapter 747. This is a Phantom Star Core, the main material needed to refine a top Shizu weapon, the Phantom Ruler. This amount is enough for me to refine an incomplete Phantom Ruler. While walking in the treasury of Graveyard of the Dead, Yang Feng's eyes suddenly lit up, and he hurriedly took a few steps forward and picked up a fist-sized or radiating eerie light, his eyes filled with excitement. Devourers and Phantom Ruler are two of the top Shizu weapons. When evolved to the pinnacle, Devourers can devour any energy and possess frightening defensive power and the ability to split. The Phantom Ruler, a weapon proficient in illusions, can easily confuse intelligent life forms and make them fall into illusions, unable to extricate themselves, and eventually sink. If Yang Feng has a top phantom ruler, then he only needs to give an order. The phantom ruler can confuse the three dawn blazing angels, make them regard Yang Feng as the Dawn Lord, and make them tell him all the information honestly. Whether it is the devourers or the phantom ruler, their core materials are the most precious treasures. Even with the strength of the Shizu, who crossed countless starfields at the time, it took them about 100 years to gather synthetic materials to refine a complete phantom ruler. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly. Although I can't refine a complete phantom ruler, but I can add superior grade soul stones and combine them with the alchemy of the warlock civilization. With that, I can refine a phantom ruler that can evolve continuously. Superior grade soul stones are the most precious strategic materials as well as top materials to refine blazing angels. Yang Feng doesn't have many superior grade soul stones on hand. However, he has 43 blazing angels and a large number of saints and petitioners abandoned by the gods. He can use secret methods to transform those saints and petitioners into soul stones. In fact, once the divine country of a god was breached, then as long as the divine country wasn't pulled into the astral boundary, once the saints and petitioners were captured, they would be refined into soul stones by the warlocks. This was the greatest benefit that the warlocks could obtain from fighting the gods. A soul stone was a commodity that would not depreciate no matter which plane it was placed in. It was a common commodity in countless extraordinary worlds. Many secret treasures and war weapons with unimaginable abilities required soul stones. Yang Feng continued to search for treasures in the graveyard of the dead. There were indeed many treasures in the graveyard of the dead. But compared to the treasury of a kindred Grand Duke, they were still far from enough. There were very few treasures that could excite him. This is the corpse of a prince-rank abyssal fiend lord, worthy of being a warlock of graveyard of the dead. It seemed that they were all top-notch tomb raiders. This is probably the most precious treasure of the graveyard of the dead. If I'm not wrong, this treasure was sealed here because no one could control it. When Yang Feng reached the deepest part of the graveyard of the dead, his eyes suddenly lit up. A 3-meter-tall abyssal devil lord with a single horn on his head and a sinister expression on his face was engraved with evil runes. It was as if he was slumbering in a transparent crystal coffin. The coffin was covered with countless seals and runes, and a terrifying aura of a king-class expert was slowly seeping out of the crystal coffin. The various secret methods recorded in the Graveyard of the Dead could allow the warlocks of Graveyard of the Dead to control all kinds of demonic corpses. However, after being refined by secret methods, the demonic corpses turned into extraordinary existences. Once the prince-rank Abyssal Fiend Lord corpse was activated, with the chaotic nature of Abyssal Fiends, a slightly weaker Infinity Warlock would be killed by the backlash. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly. It seems that my luck is pretty good. This corpse is of great benefit to my next plan. The Andrak Plain, inside a palace. Yang Feng fiddled with a storage ring containing the most precious treasure of the Heart of Fury and asked Yen Pengfei flatly, "Yen Pengfei, do you know the origin of the 3 blazing angels?" Yen Pengfei replied respectfully, "Young master, the 3 blazing angels are said to be emissaries sent by the 8th Warlock Emperor, the Dawn Lord." Yang Feng frowned slightly and said, "The Dawn Lord is a human warlock, not a god. For him to have blazing angels as his subordinates, don't you have any suspicions?" Yen Pengfei smiled bitterly. "Our Heart of Fury is a subject of the Dawn Lord in the 8th Warlock dynasty. The Dawn Imperial token cannot be faked. It is a genuine Dawn Imperial token. We have a special secret method that allowed us to perceive a trace of the Dawn Lord's aura in the Dawn Imperial token. Moreover, the aura hasn't been around for a long time. How can we disobey his orders? The Tsangji Plains 8 Warlock Emperors have suppressed countless planes with their might. In the countless planes, Moonlight Warlock rank powerhouses and above are basically aware of the prestige of the 8 Warlock Emperors. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead are second only to the 10 great sects and the 8 great families in terms of strength. But compared to the 8th Warlock Emperor the Dawn Lord, they are ants that can be crushed at will. Only Holy Spirit Warlock rank powerhouses are qualified to talk to Warlock Emperor rank powerhouses. For Warlock Emperors, existences below the Holy Spirit Warlock rank are ants. Yang Feng asked, "What do they want you to do when they find you?" Yan Pengfei smiled bitterly and took a deep look at Yang Feng. "Resources, they want us to hand over more than half of our resources to them every year. At the same time, under their protection, we can expand outwards and annex other warlock groups." By now, Yan Pengfei already knows that Yang Feng, the Undying Mountain's young master Lei Ming, is also a peerless genius of the Battle Demon sect. Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead are eyeing the Battle Demon sect covetously, while Yang Feng is also eyeing them covetously. But in the end, they became Yang Feng's prey instead. Yang Feng continued to ask, "What else?" Yan Pengfei pondered for a while before saying, "The angels form a faction of their own. They don't have much contact with us, so we don't have much information. However, every time they appear, they are led by 3 Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels. There have already been 12 Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels." Yang Feng couldn't help but take in a breath of cold air, and his eyes shimmered with a dignified shade. 12 Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels. The Blazing Angels who wield the power of dawn are undoubtedly one of the strongest Blazing Angels. They have virtually no restraints. If you want to get rid of the Blazing Angels who wield the power of dawn, you must crush them with absolute power. Although there are strong and weak Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels, but even the weakest Infinity Warlock rank Blazing Angels are equivalent to junior Infinity Warlock Supreme Geniuses who formed a virtual world. If the 12 Blazing Angels were to attack Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead, they would be able to steamroll everything in their path and wipe them out. With absolute power coupled with the Dawn Imperial token, Heart of Fury and Graveyard of the Dead have no choice but to submit. Yang Feng continued to ask, "What else?" Yan Pengfei shook his head slightly, "Nothing else." Yang Feng asked a few more questions, but didn't get any information from Yan Pengfei. Yang Feng frowned slightly, and his eyes shimmered with worry. "The 8th Warlock Emperor, the Dawn Lord? If it's really him, then I'm in trouble. Don't tell me I have to change my identity and go into hiding again." Each of the 8 Warlock Emperors is a peerless and invincible existence with extraordinary talent. Even the weaker Dawn Lord is a peerless supreme genius who has suppressed countless supreme geniuses of the Zhangji Plain, a mighty and invincible Warlock Emperor. If he is alive, then even if he is at his weakest, as long as he locates the position of Yang Feng's true body, he can cross 10,000 kilometers and kill Yang Feng with a finger. The 7th floor of the Endless Abyss. A black sun is suspended strangely in the void, the earth is dry and cracked, there are all kinds of strange-shaped abyssal plants growing, and the air is filled with corrosive abyssal demonic qi. If an ordinary person breathes a trace of abyssal demonic qi, they will fall seriously ill, or even be poisoned to death. There doesn't seem to be any life form on the earth. But if you look carefully, you can see abyssal demonic creatures exuding cruel and violent auras hiding in the corners. Every once in a while, there will be a fight in a certain corner of the earth, and the loser will be devoured cleanly together with their bones. A pitch-black abyssal river formed from the negative force of various planes, exuding a foul stench, is flowing quietly. Every once in a while, the abyssal river will suddenly set off a black wave and roll towards the shore. Every time it rolls, there will be hundreds and thousands of abyssal insects about 20 centimeters long, pitch black, with twisted faces on their backs and chrysanthemum petal-like sharp mouthparts on their heads. As soon as the abyssal insects appeared, they fought and devoured each other. Many abyssal imps with baby-like faces but beast-like sharp teeth rushed over happily, grabbed the fat abyssal insects, and stuffed them into their mouths. Is this the abyss? What a cruel place! Yang Feng, whose soul is parasitizing an abyssal insect, just glanced around, then opened his sharp mouthparts, bit the abyssal insect next to him, chewed, and devoured it. When he devoured the abyssal insect, Yang Feng felt his body swell and gain a trace of power. Without any hesitation, Yang Feng arched his body, shot to the side of another abyssal insect, bit off its head, and devoured it in big mouthfuls. After devouring more than 30 abyssal insects in a row, Yang Feng's body swelled to 30 centimeters in size. At the same time, he was brimming with power. Chapter 748. Suddenly, the scarlet eyes of an abyssal imp shimmered fiercely, and it licked its lips and strode towards Yang Feng. Fat and full of power, abyssal insects like Yang Feng are the favorite food of abyssal imps. As long as abyssal imps devour enough abyssal insects, they can stimulate the abyssal force inside them and evolve into different abyssal demonic creatures. Abyssal insects and abyssal imps formed from the negative force of countless planes are the foundation of the endless abyss. A sense of death welled up in Yang Feng's heart. He manipulated his insect body to arch slightly, and then, with all his strength, shot out like an arrow, opened its chrysanthemum-like sharp proboscis, jumped onto the face of the devil imp, and bit down. The sharp teeth of the abyssal insect pierced deeply into the abyssal imp's face, and drops of blood trickled down the abyssal imp's face. With a painful expression on its face, the abyssal imp grabbed Yang Feng's fat body and squeezed hard. A sharp pain was transmitted from Yang Feng's body, as if his body was about to explode. At this critical moment, Yang Feng operated a strange power conduction secret method recorded by human warlocks. His body squirmed strangely, and he consumed the last trace of abyssal force inside him. The sharp proboscis erupted with tremendous power and bit through the abyssal imp's face. A large amount of black blood flowed out of the abyssal imp's face. It fell to the ground in pain and struggled for a while before losing all its strength and dying. Enduring the sharp pain, Yang Feng devoured the abyssal imp's corpse one mouthful at a time. For the surrounding abyssal insects, the abyssal imp's corpse is a great tonic. One after another, abyssal insects squirmed over. While devouring the abyssal imp's corpse, Yang Feng also devoured the abyssal insects that approached him. 4 hours later, his body grew to about 1 meter in size. When Yang Feng's body grew to 1 meter in size, he felt powerful abyssal force pour out of his body and combine with his soul. While twitching, a hand suddenly extended from the abyssal insect Yang Feng has transformed into. Covered in mucus, the hand tore at the abyssal insect, and an abyssal imp crawled out of the abyssal insect. Yang Feng sensed the changes in his body, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. I finally have a human-like body. Now I can practice secret methods to enhance my strength. In the form of an abyssal insect, even though Yang Feng has mastered countless top-secret methods, but there are very few secret methods that he can practice. Compared to other abyssal insects, it's just easier for him to control his body. Now that he has evolved into an abyssal imp, Yang Feng can practice various abyssal secret methods developed by warlocks. The endless abyss was once quelled by the 8 warlock emperors. Every time a warlock emperor ascended to the throne, they would go on a punitive expedition to the endless abyss and wipe out the top powerhouses of the endless abyss. That was because the endless abyss was connected to countless planes, and it was almost an amalgamation of this universe's negative energy. According to the classification of human warlocks, the endless abyss was a grade 1 plane that could give birth to warlock emperor rank existences. According to historical records, the 8 warlock emperors once slayed 4 extremely evil warlock emperor rank demonic creatures in the endless abyss. Although many strange demonic creatures are born in the endless abyss every day, but some of the most powerful and commonly seen demonic creatures have already been thoroughly studied by human warlocks, and all kinds of incredible and powerful secret methods have been developed. In the Zhangji plane, there were many fiend warlocks, succubus warlocks, abyssal demonic dragon warlocks, and other warlocks with abyssal demonic creature bloodline. Of course, if those warlocks couldn't control the chaos and bloodthirsty instincts of abyssal fiends, they would be eradicated by other human warlocks. In the endless abyss, demonic creatures have a much easier time leveling up than human warlocks. As long as they keep killing and eating, they can get the favor of the will of the abyss and become stronger. Yang Feng grabbed 2 abyssal insects, twisted their heads, stuffed them into his mouth, and operated the Devour secret method and devoured them cleanly. In the abyss, the Devour secret method suits me better. Yang Feng grabbed abyssal insects and stuffed them into his mouth, operated the Devour secret method, and devoured them one by one. Yang Feng guided the traces of abyssal force into his claws. The claws on his hands gradually transformed, becoming longer and sharper. During the process of devouring abyssal insects, Yang Feng guided abyssal force to transform his claws and legs, making his claws sharper and his legs more powerful. In just an hour, Yang Feng's physical constitution skyrocketed by 50%, and his claws grew to 10 centimeters long, looking like sharp blades. With a casual swing, he could easily cut off the head of an abyssal insect. I can go hunt abyssal imps now. Yang Feng looked at his claws with a look of satisfaction, then turned around and strode towards an abyssal imp. When the abyssal imp saw Yang Feng, it suddenly opened its mouth, revealed beast-like teeth, raised its hands, and ejected 3-centimeter-long claws. The claws and teeth of abyssal imps are their means of attack as well as intimidate their enemies. Generally speaking, abyssal imps don't fight at will. After all, they don't have the confidence to win. If both sides are injured, they may even become food for abyssal insects. Devouring abyssal insects with weak combat strength is the most reliable way for abyssal imps to evolve. Without flinching, Yang Feng walked towards the abyssal imp step by step like a cheetah on the hunt. The eyes of the abyssal imp shimmered fiercely, and it suddenly pounced at Yang Feng and sent a claw at his eyes. Yang Feng stepped sideways, stabbed the abyssal imp in the heart with his right claw, and dug out its heart. The eyes of the abyssal imp dimmed, and it turned into a corpse. Yang Feng grabbed the corpse of the abyssal imp, opened his mouth, operated the devour secret method, and devoured the abyssal imp. After killing the abyssal imp, Yang Feng walked along the abyssal river, killed and devoured the abyssal insects and abyssal imps he saw, and continued to improve his strength. After devouring more than 60 abyssal imps and more than 300 abyssal insects, Yang Feng trembled, and formidable abyssal force pervaded and condensed inside him. From the Warlock records, Yang Feng learned that now is the time for him to choose the direction of his evolution. Most abyssal imps will evolve according to their instincts at this stage, and then evolve into all kinds of strange abyssal, demonic creatures. What kind of demonic creature they can evolve into depends entirely on luck. However, human warlocks have already done profound research on this. Yang Feng's body trembled slightly, and he guided the formidable abyssal force to transform into a horned. Yang Feng's body suddenly grew inch by inch, and he became a 1.3 meters tall horned youngling with a small horn on his head and sturdy muscles all over his body. Yang Feng clenched his fists, sensed the formidable power flowing inside him, and sighed, "Youngling horned, I should now possess level 1 apprentice warlock rank battle prowess. In the endless abyss, as long as one doesn't die, one's strength will progress astonishingly fast." No wonder abyssal fiends seem to be inexhaustible like locusts, and even warlock emperors can't do anything about them. Yang Feng didn't use any resources when he came to the endless abyss. It only took him a day to kill his way here, but he already possessed level 1 apprentice warlock rank battle prowess. For many ordinary people, this kind of progress is simply heaven-defying. Yang Feng looked at the gradually dimming black sun with a dignified look in his eyes. The icy night is coming. I have to find a cave to hide in. I'm no longer an abyssal insect, so I can't resist the erosion of the icy night. The icy night was the night of the endless abyss. During the day, the black sun would emit strange rays of light, giving the endless abyss traces of gray light. But at night, there was no light at all. During the day, the temperature on the ground would still be more than 60 degrees Celsius, but at night, it would drop to below -40 degrees Celsius. In the endless abyss, during the day, the temperature difference between hot and cold was 100 degrees Celsius. Abyssal demonic creatures with weak bodies could easily freeze to death. Only abyssal insects, with their strange body structure, wouldn't freeze to death even at -40 degrees Celsius. Yang Feng looked around, and his eyes lit up. He saw a huge cave in the distance, which was the nest of an abyssal giant worm. In the vicinity of the abyssal river, many abyssal insects, unable to evolve into abyssal imps, would instead evolve into various abyssal insect-type demonic creatures. The abyssal giant worm was a kind of abyssal insect-type demonic creature that abyssal insects evolved into. Abyssal giant worms liked to burrow. They moved slowly and were huge, and their food was the abyssal insects that covered the abyssal river. After many low-level abyssal demonic creatures evolved into abyssal giant worms, the caves of abyssal giant worms were most commonly used to hide from the temperature difference between day and night. Yang Feng cautiously looked around. After confirming that there was no ambush, he strode towards the abyssal giant worm's cave. Yang Feng had just approached the entrance of the abyssal giant worm's cave, when a black figure rushed out of the cave and stabbed at Yang Feng with a sharp, spear-like abyssal ironwood in his hand. Chapter 749. A Succubus Youngling. Yang Feng was just about to stab the assassin in the heart, but when he saw the other party's face, his eyes shimmered with enigmatic light and he grabbed the abyssal ironwood spear. Then, he grabbed the other party by the neck with his right hand and raised it high. As if a god overlooking mortals, he threatened frigidly, "Submit to me or die. If you submit to me, then use your tail to tap your head twice." The succubus youngling, who looked to be about 7 or 8 years old, had long blonde hair, was naked, and exuded a seductive charm. She firmly grasped Yang Feng's hand with both hands, struggled, and slapped her head twice with her tail. When Yang Feng saw this scene, he nodded in satisfaction and loosened his grip, and the succubus youngling fell to the ground and coughed heavily. Yang Feng looked at the succubus youngling and raised the corners of his mouth. "It seems that my luck is pretty good. To be able to encounter a succubus youngling here." Succubi were the most beautiful demons in the endless abyss. They were also the property that abyssal fiend lords liked to hoard the most. Many abyssal fiend lords like to use succubi as currency in exchange for various resources. Only in the 777th floor of the Endless Abyss, where the succubus empress controlled succubi, could succubi have a bit of dignity. At other times, they were playthings attached to various powerhouses. Holding the abyssal ironwood spear, Yang Feng looked at the succubus lowly and said solemnly, "From today on, you are my property, and I am your master, understand?" The succubus lowly got up from the ground, looked at Yang Feng fearfully, and said in a childish voice, "Yes, master." The succubus lowly has just evolved from an abyssal imp, but she has instinctively learned to obey the strong. Yang Feng, a horned, was far superior to the succubus lowly in terms of fighting strength. Yang Feng asked, "What's your name?" "I don't have a name." "Then your name is Chloris, understand?" The succubus lowly said timidly, "Yes, I understand. Master, my name is Chloris." "Master, what's your name?" Yang Feng casually fabricated a name, "My name is Warren." "Master Warren." "Eat." Yang Feng tossed a headless abyssal insect in front of the succubus lowly. The beautiful succubus lowly Chloris grabbed the abyssal insect and ate it in big mouthfuls. The succubus tail was wagging. Suddenly, rustling sounds of footsteps came from outside. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, and he strode outside with the abyssal ironwood spear in hand. A total of 8 abyssal imps appeared outside. When the 8 abyssal imps saw Yang Feng, they immediately fled in different directions. With the abyssal ironwood spear in hand, Yang Feng suddenly burst out, caught up with an abyssal imp in a few steps, stabbed it to death, and then caught up with another abyssal imp. After stabbing it to death, he dragged the corpses of the 2 abyssal imps into the cave. When Chloris saw the 2 abyssal imp corpses, her eyes lit up at once, and she stared at the 2 abyssal imp corpses. Once an abyssal imp evolves into a succubus youngling, the strength of the succubus youngling is only slightly better than that of an abyssal imp. Most of the succubus youngling, who feed on abyssal insects, wander near the abyssal river. Only by eating abyssal insects until they reach level 1 warlock rank strength will the succubus youngling have the strength to crush low-level demonic creatures. Before that, they won't dare to fight an abyssal imp to the death. Yang Feng tossed an abyssal imp corpse in front of Chloris, "Eat it." The succubus lowly cheered, pounced on the abyssal imp corpse, and ate it in big mouthfuls. Adult succubi feed on the essence or other extraordinary power of males. But before they reach adulthood, they feed on other powerful demonic creatures like other abyssal demonic creatures. If Yang Feng was somewhere outside the endless abyss, there would naturally be other food for Chloris to eat. But in the endless abyss, he has no resources. As such, he can only give the abyssal imp corpse to the succubus Loli as food. As night fell, the temperature of the abyss suddenly dropped to 0 degrees Celsius, and then continued to drop. At the entrance of the cave, there are more than 100 abyssal imp corpses piled up, tightly blocking the entrance. Even so, the inside of the cave is still bitterly cold. As a succubus youngling, Chloris is much more resistant to the cold than ordinary humans. Yet, she still shivers from the cold. She glanced at Yang Feng hesitantly, and then crawled into Yang Feng's arms like a kitten. Traces of warmth passed from Yang Feng to Chloris, and then from her to Yang Feng. Yang Feng curled up into a ball and hugged Chloris tightly, feeling the trace of warmth in the cold and feeling the biting cold. The environment of the endless abyss is really harsh. No wonder so few people split their soul and enter the endless abyss. If Yang Feng hadn't hidden in the cave of the giant worm, then with his strength as a horned youngling, he would have frozen to death in the wilderness, and then become food for other abyssal, demonic creatures. There are countless geniuses among human warlocks. Some people once split a part of their soul and turned it into an abyssal insect, wanting to promote to an abyssal lord step by step. Only by promoting to an abyssal lord in this way can they obtain the favor of the abyssal origin will and tremendous support of abyssal origin force. Moreover, by promoting to an abyssal lord step by step, they can keep a bit of their soul from being eroded by abyssal origin force. However, most human warlocks have failed. Over the years, only dozens of human warlocks have successfully become abyssal lords. However, in the cruel struggle, there are still less than 3 abyssal lords transformed from human warlocks. Abyssal demonic creatures are clearly very adaptable to all kinds of harsh environments. In the first half of the night, Yang Feng felt the biting cold around him, with only a bit of warmth in his arms. But in the second half of the night, he slowly adapted to the biting cold environment, and no longer felt uncomfortable. Early the next morning, a ray of gray light descended from the sky, passed through the hole formed by the piles of abyssal imp corpses, and entered the cave. Yang Feng operated the Devour secret method and grabbed the abyssal imp corpses. A black whirlpool flashed past, and the abyssal imp corpses were sucked into ashes. Yang Feng showed a look of satisfaction. This method is much better than before. Yang Feng threw an abyssal imp corpse in front of Chloris. Chloris, stay here and hide. I'm going out to hunt. Chloris replied in a childish voice, yes, master. Succubi don't have strong battle prowess, but their intelligence is much higher than that of other abyssal fiends. If the ghost-type and beast-type abyssal demonic creatures can't understand Yang Feng's words, they will only have the desire to kill and eat in their minds. Yang Feng clenched the abyssal ironwood spear in his hand, and his eyes flashed with excitement. Hunting abyssal imps is no longer enough for me to evolve quickly. Now that I have this abyssal ironwood spear, I can go hunt stronger demonic creatures. At this time, there are already many abyssal imps eating around the abyssal river. At the same time, there are also all kinds of demonic creatures that have evolved from abyssal imps. Yang Feng's horned is one of these demonic creatures. The demonic creatures that have evolved from abyssal imps are hunting abyssal imps around the abyssal river, and they are also fighting with each other. There are all kinds of demonic creatures near the abyssal river. Only when the demonic creatures evolve to level 1 warlock rank can they be considered to have promoted to junior abyssal fiends. At that time, junior abyssal fiends will leave the abyssal river. No matter how many junior abyssal fiends they devour, they won't evolve. Yang Feng scanned the surroundings, and his gaze locked on a level 3 apprentice warlock rank 3-eyed abyssal wolf with 3 eyes, and he strode towards the 3-eyed abyssal wolf. When the 3-eyed abyssal wolf saw Yang Feng approaching, its eyes flashed fiercely, and the vertical eye on its forehead flickered, and a gray petrification ray shot towards Yang Feng. The 3-eyed abyssal wolf has just moved, when Yang Feng blocked with his left hand. The gray petrification ray hit his left hand and covered it in a layer of gray stone. He waved his right hand, and the abyssal ironwood spear turned into a shooting star, stabbed into the head of the 3-eyed abyssal wolf, and ran the Devour secret method. After insta-killing the three-eyed abyssal wolf, Yang Feng stepped forward, operated the Devour secret method, and devoured the three-eyed abyssal wolf completely. After devouring the three-eyed abyssal wolf, Yang Feng's body swelled to about 1.5 meters tall, and his strength increased by a large margin. The petrified part of Yang Feng's left hand began to recover inch by inch. Horned are a race with very strong resistance to all kinds of things. The three-eyed abyssal wolf's petrification ray couldn't petrify his arm. Abyssal demonic creatures have an extremely high resistance to curses and abyssal spells. Although the petrification spell had a certain impact on Yang Feng, but it couldn't really cause him irreparable harm. By killing monsters of a higher rank, my strength really improves quickly. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, and he pulled out the abyssal ironwood spear and rushed towards the next level, 3 apprentice warlock rank freak. Chapter 750. The horn that Yang Feng chose to evolve was a human-type abyssal fiend powerhouse. It was born with formidable magic resistance and tremendous power. It was a ferocious race among human-type abyssal fiends. Coupled with the various secret methods Yang Feng mastered, its fighting strength was even more ferocious. In the vicinity of the abyssal river, Yang Feng's incarnation of a ferocious humanoid fiend wantonly slaughtered the abyssal demonic creatures gathered near the abyssal river. Once the demonic creatures were killed, they were devoured by Yang Feng's Devour secret method and turned into power inside him. The frenzied slaughter lasted all morning. Yang Feng walked along the abyssal river. Wherever he passed, advanced demonic creatures were killed and devoured. Amid the frenzied slaughter, wisps of chaotic abyssal origin force entered Yang Feng's body, making him more powerful. Yang Feng stabbed a boar-headed fiend with a pig's head and lion's fangs with his spear. After devouring the boar-headed fiend, he felt the power inside him surge. Based on the warlock records, he understood that he had reached the edge of evolution. No, I can't evolve like this. I have to accumulate more power, so that I can transform into a gold horned the moment I evolve into an adult. Yang Feng's heart stirred, and he operated the gold horned secret method and channeled the power inside him to the horn on his head, dyeing the horn on his head with a touch of gold. Gold-horned were emperors among horned. Among human-type abyssal fiends, their evolutionary potential was the strongest. Only they could contend against ghost-type and beast-type abyssal fiends of the same race. Yang Feng could also promote to an abyssal lord as a horned. However, in a battle of the same rank, horned abyssal lords were much weaker than ghost-type and beast-type abyssal lords. After the horn was dyed with a layer of gold, although Yang Feng didn't transform into an adult horned, but his strength increased by a fraction, reaching the pinnacle level, 3 apprentice warlock realm. Killing those demonic creatures became even easier. Unfortunately, the accumulation of gold horned is too much. I'm still a little short of evolving into a gold horned. Before the icy night descended, Yang Feng dragged the corpse of a boar and strode towards the cave where Chloris was. She didn't escape. As soon as Yang Feng returned to the cave, he scanned it with his tremendous spirit force and sensed Chloris hiding in a pit. The corners of his mouth rose at once. Succubi were abyssal fiends proficient in charm spells. Moreover, they were very smart and liked to attach themselves to the strong. The succubus lowly Chloris clearly understood that it would be difficult for her to survive in this cruel abyss alone, which was why she didn't choose to escape. Only human-type demonic creatures would have a favorable impression of succubi lowly like Chloris before they evolve into abyssal fiends and be willing to shelter them. When other monsters encountered succubus lowly, they would directly eat them and turn them into their own nutrients. In the endless abyss, succubus lowly Yang Feng, succubi lowly, and that was demons would not be. Yang Feng said solemnly, "I'm back." When Chloris heard Yang Feng's voice, she crawled out of the pit. Although she was covered in dust, but she still had a charming and lovely face. Like a kitten, she jumped out, bounced to in front of Yang Feng, wagged her tail, and said in a childish voice, "Welcome back, master." Yang Feng looked at Chloris with some surprise. What a high IQ. Even without a teacher, you can act cute and ingratiate yourself. No wonder so many abyssal lords like you. The succubus lowly Chloris didn't learn any knowledge, yet she even learned the word welcome without a teacher. Clearly, it was an inheritance engraved in her bloodline and soul. Haha, interesting, a young horned and a young succubus. I'm really lucky this time. To be able to find two young ones, I'm going to be rich. A ferocious voice came from outside as a low-level abyssal demon walked over. It had two large eyes and a pair of demonic wings on its back. It was about 1.7 meters tall and gave off a terrifying aura. When Chloris saw the junior abyssal fiend, her complexion suddenly changed, and she hid behind Yang Feng, shivering all over as she looked at the junior abyssal fiend. By instinct, she could feel that the junior abyssal fiend was much stronger than Yang Feng's horned. Junior abyssal fiends were existences that received an infusion of abyssal origin force and underwent a transformation. Junior abyssal fiends were comparable to level 1 warlocks in terms of strength. Junior abyssal fiends were called fiends, while other existences were called inferior demonic creatures. The junior abyssal fiend glanced at Yang Feng, and his eyes shimmered with jealousy. He walked over and threatened coldly, "Lowly demonic creature, kneel down, lick my toes, drink my urine, and be my dog, and I'll let you live. Otherwise, I'll eat you alive." The junior abyssal fiend was just an ordinary hybrid fiend, and didn't belong to any category. Compared to horned, it was much weaker. A horned of the same rank could kill 3 of these hybrid fiends. This was why it was so jealous of Yang Feng and wanted to wantonly humiliate him. In the endless abyss, chaos, massacre, perversion, and madness were the main characteristics of the endless abyss. In the endless abyss, if you didn't separate a wisp of your soul and incarnate into an abyssal life form, then even a supreme god would be completely eroded after staying in the endless abyss for a long time. Eventually, their mind would become chaotic, and they would degenerate into an abyssal lord. Then go to hell. Killing intent flashed in Yang Feng's eyes, and he suddenly rushed towards the junior abyssal fiend. Idiot! I'm an abyssal fiend. A lowly demonic creature like you dares to offend me, go to hell. The junior abyssal fiend smiled coldly and spread the fingers of a hand, and a 10-centimeter long fiend claw ejected from it and dug towards Yang Feng's heart. The gold horn on Yang Feng's head flashed, and his left hand turned gold. With a wave of his hand, he pushed the abyssal fiend's claw aside, and a fiend claw ejected from his right hand, stabbed the junior abyssal fiend in the heart and dug out its heart. A look of horror on his face, blood trickled down from the corners of the junior abyssal fiend's mouth, and he cried out in despair, how is this possible? Become my nourishment. A devour force spread from Yang Feng's hand, enveloped the junior abyssal fiend, and devoured it. A formidable force pervaded Yang Feng's body, and a tremendous amount of abyssal force poured into him from the endless void. The gold horn suddenly blossomed with resplendent light, and a formidable force entered Yang Feng's body, baptized his life essence once more, and evolved into a higher being. The aura unique to junior abyssal fiends diffused from Yang Feng's body. Feeling the power inside him, the corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose into a smile. I've finally evolved into a junior abyssal fiend. Now, I can use level 1 spells. The Golden Horned was a royal existence among the abyssal fiends. Not only was their physical strength extremely formidable, but they also had all kinds of powerful magic resistance. At the same time, they also had excellent magic talent and could learn all kinds of spells. Moreover, they could awaken golden spells from their bloodline. Yang Feng sensed the changes inside him. After evolving into an abyssal fiend, I awakened the level 1 spell gold power, level 1 spell gold arrow, level 1 spell gold curse, and level 1 spell gold shield. To possess 4 innate spells in one evolution, I'm really far ahead of human warlocks. Before advancing to the Moonlight Warlock realm, human warlocks had to condense spell models to be able to cast spells. For trigger-type innate spells, one could obtain an instantaneous innate spell at every evolution level. Abyssal life forms like Goldhorned possessed 4 innate spells upon awakening, and could cultivate spells like humans. Compared to them, the talent of human warlocks wasn't on the same level. Chloris looked at Yang Feng with a look of adoration, her small mind full of shock. Amazing, Master is really strong. Yang Feng threw a bag made of demonic beast skin, recited an incantation, pointed with a finger, and suddenly unleashed the level 0 spell Flame Spark. A flame fell on the bag and set it ablaze. Yang Feng threw out a crude kitchen knife made from a demonic beast claw, pointed at the abyssal boar fiend beside him, and said, "Go roast the meat." The abyssal boar fiend was the most delicious demonic beast Yang Feng had encountered so far, and it was even more delicious when roasted. However, in the abyss, the theme was slaughter and bloodthirst. Only by eating abyssal boar fiends raw or killing them could one gain more power. Therefore, most abyssal demonic beasts ate their enemies raw. Yes, Master. Without a teacher, Chloris took the crude kitchen knife made from a demonic beast claw and began to cook the abyssal boar fiend. When Yang Feng walked out of the cave, he found 6 junior abyssal fiends heading his way. The 6 junior abyssal fiends were mixed-breed abyssal fiends. When they saw Yang Feng concealing his aura, their eyes lit up, and they pounced at him. Idiot! Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a fierce glint, and he blurred into motion and pounced at the 6 junior abyssal fiends. Chapter 751. Yang Feng's heart stirred. The gold horn on his head radiated gold light, and he instantly unleashed the level 1 spell Gold Force, which enveloped him. With the blessing of Gold Force, Yang Feng's physique more than doubled. His figure fluttered, and he appeared next to a junior abyssal fiend. His right hand turned into an afterimage, stabbed the junior abyssal fiend in the chest, and dug out its heart. After insta-killing the junior abyssal fiend, like a cheetah, Yang Feng pounced on the remaining junior abyssal fiends and dug out their hearts with one move each. When a junior abyssal fiend saw Yang Feng appear in front of him, he was scared out of his wits and screamed mournfully, "I am someone sent by Sir Paimon to recruit troops. If you kill me, Sir Paimon won't let you off." Yang Feng frowned and asked solemnly, "Recruit troops? Is Sir Paimon a great fiend?" If great fiends wanted to recruit subordinates, they would send people to the Abyssal River to capture them. Once a junior abyssal fiend was born, they would be captured by the great fiends and turned into their subordinates. The junior abyssal fiend threatened with a malevolent expression, "That's right, Sir Paimon is a great fiend. He is the #1 expert under the command of the mighty abyssal lord Baron Merton. Let me go, or Sir Paimon will definitely kill you." Yang Feng's eyes shimmered, and he revealed an excited smile, "Recruit troops. Interesting, there should be an advanced abyssal fiend leading you. What's his name, what race, and what abilities are he proficient in? Speak, or I'll kill you." Yang Feng's gold-horned avatar had great potential, but the resources needed for evolution were also tremendous. Devouring an advanced abyssal fiend was enough for him to advance to an intermediate abyssal fiend. The junior abyssal fiend said with a look of horror on his face, "Our leader is called Kukurina, a bony fiend proficient in bone spells." Abyssal fiends were the most shameless creatures. Except for a small number of abyssal fiends, the rest didn't know what loyalty was. Betrayal, killing, and deceiving each other were the essence of abyssal fiends. Yang Feng said coldly, "How many subordinates does it have? Are there any mid-level abyssal demons?" The low-ranked abyssal fiend said, "Lord Kukurina brought 100 of our subordinates here to recruit subordinates. According to past practice, he should have 5 subordinates by his side, and 2 of them should be mid-level abyssal demons." Yang Feng glanced at the junior abyssal fiend and said coldly, "You speak quite clearly. Not bad, I admire you. How about you be my subordinate?" The low-level abyssal fiend knelt on the ground and shouted, "Greetings, Master." Yang Feng glanced at the junior abyssal fiend and smiled faintly. He understood that this junior abyssal fiend is completely unreliable. Whoever is stronger will attach themselves to them. But now that Yang Feng has no manpower, he can only use this junior abyssal fiend. Yang Feng said lightly, "Take me to Kukurina, tell him that I have a succubus youngling to offer it." The low-ranking abyssal demon rolled its eyes and reminded, "Master, are you going to see Lord Kukurina? It's an advanced abyssal fiend. Yang Feng gave the junior abyssal fiend a meaningful look and said faintly, many bony fiends are just my food. The junior abyssal fiend glanced at the gold horn on Yang Feng's head and flattered, Master, you are invincible. All of your enemies are ants. They are no match for you, Master. Gold-horned is a terrifying abyssal demon that can be mentioned in the same breath as abyssal demonic dragons, abyssal devils, and backed fiends. Because of this, the junior abyssal fiend doesn't dare to oppose Yang Feng openly. 30 kilometers west of the abyssal river, there are 6 abyssal fiends sitting in a spacious cave. The leader was a high-level abyssal. His entire body was covered in a thick layer of bone armor, and incomparably sharp spikes grew out of his joints. His face was hideous and fierce, as if he were a cross between a human and a horse. He stood 2 meters tall. This advanced abyssal fiend is the bony race's Kukurina. When the junior abyssal fiend brought Yang Feng's group of 2 to the cave, he shouted, Sir Kukurina, I am Munch. I found a gold-horned and a succubus youngling near the abyssal river. A succubus youngling? When Kukurina heard this, his eyes lit up, and his gaze fell on Chloris next to Yang Feng, and his eyes revealed a lascivious glint. Abyssal fiends are freaks born from the negative forces of various planes. They are full of bloodlust, massacre, envy, gluttony, lust, and other desires. Although Kukurina's bony race doesn't look like humans, but he can still appreciate the beauty and charm of a succubus. The eyes of the other 5 abyssal fiends also focused on Chloris, their gazes full of greed and lust. Kukurina licked his lips with his lizard-like tongue and said excitedly, I'll play with this succubus youngling for 3 days. After 3 days, I'll let you play with her. Don't kill her, or I'll eat you. Good. That's great. The few abyssal fiends beside Kukurina issued roars of excitement. In the endless abyss, most abyssal fiends are male. Female abyssal fiends are rare, and abyssal fiends are supported by the abyssal river. Many abyssal fiends have no choice but to copulate with other female abyssal demonic creatures, giving birth to all kinds of strange demonic creatures. Most of the female abyssal fiends are very beautiful, but succubi are among the most beautiful female abyssal fiends. Chloris shrunk back in fear, yet she unconsciously exuded traces of charm, making her look even more beautiful and alluring. This made the eyes of the abyssal fiends gradually turn bloodshot. Wait a minute, she's my possession. The gold horn on Yang Feng's head flashed, and the level 1 spell gold force blessed him, and he strode towards Kukurina with an unruly expression on his face. Your possession? Fool, a trifling junior abyssal fiend dares to provoke me. Then go to hell. Kukurina's eyes shimmered fiercely, and it raised its right hand, which fired 5 sharp bone spurs barreling towards Yang Feng like artillery shells. Yang Feng suddenly erupted, his left hand flashed with light and a palm-sized gold shield suddenly appeared. He leaned slightly to the side and the 2 bone spurs were immediately deflected by the gold shield. He appeared in front of Kukurina, pierced Kukurina's heart with a meteor-like claw, operated the Devour secret method and absorbed Kukurina's power. Munch was dumbfounded when he saw this. He couldn't believe his eyes. So strong. How can he be so strong? Gold-horned is indeed a terrifying existence on the same level as dragon-type and ghost-type existences. Kill him. An intermediate abyssal fiend was taken aback, then his eyes shimmered fiercely, and he rushed towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and a gold arrow suddenly shot out, instantly ran through the intermediate abyssal fiend, and nailed him to the ground. The other intermediate abyssal fiend turned and fled into the distance. It had just taken a step, when a gold arrow ran through its heart. Spare me. Sir, spare me. Don't kill me. Sir, spare me. The complexion of the other 3 junior abyssal fiends suddenly changed greatly, and they knelt on the ground and begged Yang Feng. Abyssal fiends were the most unprincipled beings, only obeying the strong. Yang Feng said lightly, Munch, from now on, you are the captain of the 3 of them. Munch responded even more respectfully, "Yes, Master." After a dozen-plus breaths of time, Yang Feng devoured Kukurina, and he evolved to the intermediate abyssal fiend realm. Yang Feng swept the two intermediate abyssal fiend corpses with his gaze and said lightly, "Chloris, eat those two." Chloris stared at the two intermediate abyssal fiend corpses with excitement in her eyes. "Yes, Master." As an abyssal demonic creature that has yet to fully mature, Chloris can evolve into a mature succubus after devouring the two intermediate abyssal fiend corpses. These are abyssal soul coins, the common currency of the endless abyss. From the waist of the advanced abyssal fiend, Yang Feng found a pouch made of fiend skin containing more than 30 white and 2 gray abyssal soul coins. Abyssal soul coins are the common currency of the endless abyss. After the soul of an ordinary person is cut and decomposed by an abyssal lord, you can get a silver abyssal soul coin. 1,000 white abyssal soul coins can be exchanged for a gray abyssal soul coin, 1,000 gray abyssal soul coins can be exchanged for a silver abyssal soul coin, 1,000 silver abyssal soul coins can be exchanged for a gold abyssal soul coin, and 1,000 gold abyssal soul coins can be exchanged for a low-grade soul stone. When advanced abyssal fiends promote to great fiends and great fiends promote to abyssal lords, they need to absorb the power of abyssal soul coins. Apart from this, only by entering the bloody battlefields connected to the 9 devil planes, engaging in bloody battles, devouring the souls and power of the enemies, or by winning countless battles, obtaining the favor of Abyss, and accepting the baptism of abyssal origin force can you promote. The remaining junior abyssal fiends who went to capture their subordinates returned quickly. After Yang Feng killed a few junior abyssal fiends, the remaining junior abyssal fiends chose to surrender and become Yang Feng's subordinates. Chapter 752. The endless abyss was full of dangers, with demonic creatures and abyssal fiends fighting everywhere. In the endless abyss, killing was the main theme. However, in the endless abyss, abyssal lords above the abyssal baron rank would build a city and develop it into their own force. In their respective cities, abyssal lords were equivalent to emperors in the secular world, controlling the fate of all life forms in the city. In addition to abyssal lord cities, there were also some abyssal fiend gathering places of various sizes in the endless abyss. The gathering places of abyssal fiends were the territories established by advanced abyssal fiends who subdued junior abyssal fiends. The gathering place of the advanced abyssal fiends was also constantly fighting each other, constantly evolving in the midst of the crazy fighting, and finally evolving into great fiends. The strongest of the newly born greater demons would establish a city of their own and continue their slaughter. They would also respond to the summons of other dimensions and use all sorts of methods to obtain the favor of the Chaos Abyss, transforming into an abyssal demon baron, or even becoming an abyssal demon lord. This was the promotion path for abyssal fiends. However, it was relatively easy for junior demonic creatures to evolve into junior abyssal fiends. As long as they continued to kill and devour other demonic creatures, they could evolve all the way to a junior abyssal fiend. However, it was very difficult for junior abyssal fiends to evolve into great fiends. Among 100,000 junior abyssal fiends, there might not be a great fiend. Only by fighting on the bloody battlefields of the endless abyss and the infernal plane could junior abyssal fiends quickly promote to great fiends, or even abyssal lords. On a hillside of a small abyssal fiend gathering place, Yang Feng overlooked the small abyssal fiend gathering place. Behind him followed more than 200 junior abyssal fiends of all shapes and sizes. These junior abyssal fiends were the subordinates Yang Feng subdued by force. Standing beside Yang Feng is Chloris, who is dressed in a simple and crude leather coat made from demonic beast skin. She has grown from an 8 or 9-year-old lowly into a 1.65 m tall succubus with a pair of succubus wings on her back, a curvaceous figure, and a bewitching aura exuding from all over. The junior abyssal fiends looked at Chloris with greed in their eyes. But when their gazes fell on Yang Feng, they flashed with fear and apprehension. The advanced abyssal fiend subordinates of Kukurina summoned 400+ junior abyssal fiends. The 100+ junior abyssal fiends who spoke rudely died at Yang Feng's hands. In this abyssal fiend army, Yang Feng, who exudes intermediate abyssal fiend aura, is the most powerful existence. Yang Feng pointed at the small abyssal fiend gathering place. Attack! The more than 200 low-ranking abyssal fiends immediately charged towards the small abyssal fiend gathering place like a tide. There were as many demons in the endless abyss as there were stars in the sky, and it was impossible to kill them all. Moreover, demons were chaotic by nature, and it was almost impossible to train them into an orderly army. This kind of chaotic battle was normal. There was also a burst of chaos in the small abyssal fiend gathering place, and more than 400 junior abyssal fiends poured out and fought with the other junior abyssal fiends. The gold horn on Yang Feng's head flashed, and he conjured the spell Gold Force. A tremendous force enveloped him, and he rushed into the fray, slammed a fist into a junior abyssal fiend, and blasted a huge bloody hole open in the chest of the junior abyssal fiend. As soon as the abyssal fiends approached Yang Feng, they were blasted to death by his fist. As if a tank, Yang Feng rolled towards the depths of the gathering place. Go to hell! A mixed-breed advanced abyssal fiend flew out of the gathering place, roared, and rushed towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled ferociously, then blurred into motion and rushed to in front of the advanced abyssal fiend, stabbed the advanced abyssal fiend in the heart with his hand, and dug out its heart. Then, he operated Devour Secret method and devoured all the power of the advanced abyssal fiend. The advanced abyssal fiend struggled for a moment, and then slowly turned into ashes, its eyes filled with fear. When the other junior abyssal fiends saw this scene, their eyes revealed a look of fear, and they retreated, not daring to approach Yang Feng. Yang Feng glanced at the many junior abyssal fiends with a fierce glint in his eyes, and said fiercely, "Your leader is dead. From now on, I am your new leader. Who's not convinced? Greetings, Sir Leader." The surrounding junior abyssal fiends glanced at Yang Feng, then their knees softened, and they knelt on the ground and chose to submit. Yang Feng walked towards the depths of the gathering place, entered a spacious stone house, opened a dark room, and found an abyssal great fiend heart. The advanced abyssal fiend didn't know about concealment arrays. Naturally, the fluctuations of power of the abyssal great fiend heart couldn't escape the detection of a gold-horned like Yang Feng. Many abyssal fiends condense their power in their hearts, just like how most of human warlocks condense their power in their soul core. My luck is pretty good. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly. He grabbed the abyssal great fiend heart, operated Devour Secret method, and devoured the power of the abyssal great fiend heart. In an instant, Yang Feng's body shone, and he expanded by a size and evolved into an advanced abyssal fiend. For ordinary advanced abyssal fiends, it would take them several years or even a dozen years to completely devour and digest an abyssal great fiend heart. However, Yang Feng could easily devour the power of the abyssal great fiend heart. This was the terror of Devour Secret method. Feeling the changes in his body, Yang Feng silently calculated, if it was an ordinary horned, they could use Devour Secret method to devour the abyssal great fiend heart and advance to an abyssal great fiend. But gold-horned are different. To evolve, they need at least 5 abyssal great fiend hearts, or the full power of 100 advanced abyssal fiends. Before long, the wealth of the gathering place was plundered by Yang Feng. At the same time, he took the 400-plus surviving abyssal fiends to attack another gathering place. In the endless abyss, one gathering place after another was breached by Yang Feng, and his force expanded like a rolling snowball. A few days later, in front of a gathering place, more than 1,000 abyssal fiends attacked the gathering place like a tide. Yang Feng rode an abyssal demonic horse, and on the same demonic horse sat a succubus, it was Chloris. Among the more than 1,000 abyssal fiends, there were already 10 intermediate abyssal fiends. All the advanced abyssal fiends were killed and devoured by Yang Feng. Only the intermediate abyssal fiends were taken in as his minions. Although Yang Feng was extremely strong, but he also needed minions to collect resources, maintain order, and suppress enemies. Riding an abyssal demonic horse, Yang Feng strolled amidst the abyssal fiends with a 2-meter-long bone scythe in his hand, casually brandishing the huge bone scythe and cutting the abyssal fiends blocking his way in two. A huge isolation zone formed within an area of 2 meters around Yang Feng. No abyssal fiend dared to approach him. Suddenly, a great fiend aura rose from inside the gathering place, and a very handsome human-type abyssal fiend with 2 small horns on the head, a pair of fiend wings on the back, and dark gray skin suddenly flew up and appeared in midair. Behind the human-type great fiend, there were 10 advanced abyssal fiends looking coldly at Yang Feng. The human-type abyssal fiend looked at Yang Feng arrogantly and said, "Warren, I am Paimondi, the #1 expert under the command of the abyssal lord Baron Merton. I admire you very much. Offer me the succubus beside you. I can make you my subordinate and nurture you into an abyssal great fiend in the future." Abyssal great fiend. That's an abyssal great fiend. When the 1,000+ junior abyssal fiends following Yang Feng sensed Paimondi's aura, their countenances changed dramatically, and their eyes filled with apprehension. Abyssal fiends were a kind of life form that bullied the weak and feared the strong. The 1,000+ abyssal fiends that Yang Feng was entangled with were a motley crew. When they encountered an abyssal great fiend, their morale dropped to the extreme. If they encountered an abyssal lord, they would even rebel and become the abyssal lord's subordinates, and then attack Yang Feng instead. "You want my succubus? Then go to hell." Yang Feng's eyes flashed fiercely, and he pointed with a finger and suddenly unleashed the level 3 spell gold spiral arrow, and a gold arrow that spun wildly shot towards Paimondi like a gold meteor. "Stubborn fool." Paimondi's eyes flashed fiercely, and he spread the fingers of a hand, and a pentagram magic shield suddenly appeared in front of him. When the gold spiral arrow hit the pentagram magic shield, it spun wildly, pierced through the pentagram magic shield, and stabbed into Paimondi's shoulder, shattering his right arm. How is this possible? A look of shock on his face, Paimondi could hardly believe his eyes. Die! With a flash of an afterimage, Yang Feng appeared behind Paimondi, stabbed his hand into Paimondi's heart, operated the Devour secret method, and forcibly absorbed Paimondi's body. Paimondi turned into ashes in Yang Feng's hand. A formidable force suddenly gushed out of Yang Feng and broke through a bottleneck. A tremendous amount of abyssal force poured into him, and he broke through and promoted to an abyssal great fiend. A frightening aura diffused from him. Chapter 753. Yang Feng scanned the 10 advanced abyssal fiends subordinated to Paimon with his gaze and said coldly, "Do you submit to me or die?" "Greetings, Master." Without hesitation, the 10 advanced abyssal fiends knelt on the ground and said respectfully. Munch looked at Yang Feng in the void, dumbfounded, and shock filled his eyes. "Amazing. This is my master. Really amazing." In just a few days, Yang Feng advanced from an intermediate abyssal fiend to a great fiend. In the eyes of a junior abyssal fiend like Munch, this evolution speed was simply heaven-defying. There was a flash of excitement in Chloris' beautiful eyes. "Amazing, that's my master for you. It seems that I followed the right person." Succubi were creatures that liked to attach themselves to the strong. Although Chloris wasn't even a year old, but when she promoted to a mature succubus, she had already mastered many succubus-exclusive abilities. At the same time, her IQ had also increased to that of an 18 or 19-year-old girl, and her strength had increased sharply. Even a level 1 warlock might not be her match. Blackbones City was founded 1,000 years ago by the abyssal lord Baron Merton, and it had an area of 1,300 square kilometers. There were 1 million abyssal fiends living in Blackbones City. At the same time, there was an elite abyssal fiend legion of 20,000 people. When untamed abyssal fiends encountered a powerhouse, they would collapse, and even turn into the other party's people. Although the strictly trained abyssal fiends still didn't have a formation in battle, but as long as the great fiend presiding over the legion wasn't dead, they would fight desperately, and wouldn't easily change sides. In the center of Blackbones City, there was a luxurious castle. In some areas of the castle, there was a powerful barrier, which changed the environment of the area. The environment in the endless abyss was extremely harsh, with a temperature difference of more than 100 degrees between day and night. Although Abyssal Fiend Lords didn't feel much about the temperature difference, but the beautiful women they abducted from other planes couldn't resist the frightening temperature difference and the erosion of abyssal force. In the castle of Blackbone City, Abyssal Demon Lord Baron Merton sat beside a black coffin. He opened his mouth and inhaled, and a stream of extremely pure abyssal chi continuously gushed out of the black coffin and entered his body. Suddenly, a respectful voice came from outside, "Master, Johnny has recruited a greater demon. That great fiend is a golden horned." Baron Morton opened his eyes at once, and a peculiar glint flashed in his eyes. He sank into contemplation. A great fiend rank golden horned? Why would such an expert seek refuge with me? After hesitating for a moment, Baron Merton said in a deep voice, "Let him go to the Black Bone Temple." "Yes, Master." The Black Bone Palace was the place where the Black Bone Castle received guests. There were all kinds of powerful abyssal demon specimens placed in the Black Bone Palace. There was even the head of an abyssal demon dragon, showing off Baron Morton's strength. In the endless abyss, the more powerful a demon was, the more people would follow them. The weaker ones would be devoured by the other demons until not even their bones were left. Sitting on a chair made of who knows what fiend bone, Yang Feng is sipping a cup of tea. There are some berries unique to the abyss beside him. There are many extraordinary plants in the abyss, but there are also many strange berries. Those strange berries are highly toxic to many beings of other planes. But for abyssal fiends, they are very nutritious and delicious food. Standing behind Yang Feng, Chloris carefully massaged his back and shoulders. This fool actually brought such an outstanding succubus to see Master. He's simply foolish to the extreme. Several abyssal fiend attendants in the Black Bone Palace glanced at Chloris beside Yang Feng, and then swept Yang Feng with their gazes, revealing excitement and jealousy. The adult succubus Chloris is far more beautiful and outstanding than other ordinary succubi, and her value is far above that of Yang Feng's golden horned. To be able to evolve into an abyssal lord in the abyss, Baron Merton is definitely not a soft-hearted person. When he sees Chloris, he will definitely seize her. What a beautiful succubus! As soon as Baron Morton entered the Black Bone Palace, his gaze fell on Chloris. His eyes were filled with greed as he strode toward her. The gold horn on Yang Feng's head flashed, and he suddenly cast the level for spell Gold Strength. Enveloped in gold light, he suddenly rose from the seat and sent a claw at Baron Merton's heart. "Bastard, you dare to assassinate me! Die!" Baron Merton was also a veteran abyssal fiend baron who had gone through countless battles. He roared, his body suddenly swelled up, his muscles bulged, a huge amount of demonic chi revolved around him, and a dragon scale appeared on his heart, blossoming with magic light. When Yang Feng's claw stabbed the dragon scale, as if stabbing a steel plate, it only managed to stab 5 centimeters in. This is the essential gap between a great fiend rank gold horned and an abyssal fiend baron. Even though Yang Feng's attack is practically a sneak attack, but it is still difficult to insta-kill an abyssal fiend baron. If Yang Feng was an abyssal fiend baron, then this claw would have already dug out the abyssal fiend baron's heart. As expected of an abyssal fiend baron, you're really powerful. Even though Goldhorn possesses amazing battle prowess, but it is still very difficult to kill an abyssal fiend baron by relying on their innate talent alone. Unfortunately, I'm not an ordinary Goldhorned. Devour Secret Method. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly, and he operated Devour Secret Method. The claw stabbed into Baron Merton's heart devoured part of his heart. Damn you! Baron Merton turned pale with fright, his eyes shimmered fiercely, and he sent a claw stabbing towards Yang Feng's heart. Yang Feng blocked with his left hand, and a gold shield suddenly appeared in front of him. When Baron Merton's claw slammed into the gold shield, Abyssal Fiend Baron rank power erupted in an instant and sent Yang Feng flying. Yang Feng's claw flicked and twisted in a flash, and half of Baron Merton's heart was crushed. Baron Merton screamed in pain, and a large amount of black blood sprayed out of his heart. The half of his heart squirmed and healed. Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he appeared in front of Baron Merton and sent a fist barreling towards the other party. Baron Merton raised his hand and blocked Yang Feng's fist. At the same time, a pillar of blood sprayed out of his heart and scattered on the ground. Baron Merton let out a miserable scream. "No, don't kill me. I can give everything here to you. Spare my life. I'm willing to be your subordinate, your slave, and your servant. Go to hell." Yang Feng smiled coldly and sent one fist after another barreling towards Baron Merton. After 3 punches, Baron Merton's heart was ruptured by the fearsome force, and he spewed a copious amount of blood and fell to the ground. Yang Feng stabbed a claw into Baron Merton's heart, operated the Devour secret method, and devoured Baron Merton. After devouring Baron Merton, Yang Feng sensed the changes inside him. This Baron Merton is already an advanced Starry Sky Warlock ranked powerhouse. Unfortunately, it's too difficult to promote to a gold horned. He alone isn't enough for me to promote. Yang Feng glanced at the abyssal fiends in the Black Bone Hall and said coldly, "From today on, I am your new master. Do you understand?" When the junior abyssal fiends saw this scene, they saluted Yang Feng and said respectfully, "Yes, Master." Abyssal fiends were a group of creatures that bullied the weak and feared the strong. By killing their master, Yang Feng proved his strength, and the junior abyssal fiends submitted to him. Of course, it goes without saying how loyal they were. As long as a stronger abyssal fiend defeated Yang Feng, they could become the lord of this city. Without the favor of abyssal force, I'm not a true abyssal lord yet. Yang Feng went to Baron Merton's secret chamber, opened the coffin, and revealed the corpse of an abyssal lord exuding traces of abyssal earl rank power. Yang Feng secretly arranged for Baron Merton to get his hands on the abyssal fiend lord corpse. Yang Feng grabbed the abyssal fiend lord's corpse and operated a secret method to devour it, and formidable abyssal force poured into Yang Feng from the corpse. In a breath of time, Yang Feng was enveloped by endless abyssal force. Yang Feng frantically operated the Devour secret method, and formidable abyssal force suddenly poured into him from the void and promoted him to an abyssal fiend baron. Yang Feng sensed that as soon as he was promoted to an abyssal fiend baron, there was a trace of strange law force inside him. This is the authority of an abyssal lord. With this authority, I can control the life and death of all the fiends in the city who choose to submit to me. As long as I am alive, I can deprive them of their lives with a command. This is the power that governs abyssal fiends. Abyssal fiends bully the weak and fear the strong. Without the authority of an abyssal fiend lord, when abyssal fiends see a powerful existence, they will basically choose to rebel against their original master. Only an existence that wields the authority of an abyssal lord can order the abyssal fiends who choose to submit to him to commit suicide with a single command, unable to resist. It is because of the authority of an abyssal lord that abyssal fiends can command countless abyssal fiends to fight devils in the endless bloody battles. At the very least, they won't collapse and defect when they encounter a devil powerhouse. Chapter 754. After all, the abyssal fiend Earl was just a corpse. After Yang Feng devoured the abyssal fiend Earl's corpse, he only evolved to the pinnacle abyssal fiend baron rank. He was only one step away from promoting to an abyssal fiend viscount. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with enigmatic light. Abyssal fiend baron rank is already the limit. If I want to break through quickly, I can only go to bloody battlefield plain and fight devils. Although Yang Feng can still send a steady stream of resources from the Zhangji Plain to the Endless Abyss and let the Abyssal Fiend avatar advance quickly. However, Yang Feng is opening up a safe, worry-free, and flawless retreat in the Endless Abyss. If he helped too much, he would be discovered by other powerful beings. The Bloodbath Plains was the border between the Abyssal Plain and the Infernal Plain. Countless devils and abyssal demons slaughtered each other there. Whether it was devils or abyssal demons, they could obtain enormous power from the endless bloody battles. After Hell was divided by the ancient devils attacked the endless abyss in order to expand the area of Hell, resulting in an endless bloody war. In that endless war, the chaotic and disorderly abyssal demons were constantly defeated. Hell was also eroding the endless abyss. From the beginning, there was only one layer of Hell, but now it had become 9 layers of Hell. Moreover, the area of hell was constantly expanding. The endless abyss was formed by the condensation of the negative energy from the countless planes in this universe, and it was constantly expanding every year. Even if the 9 levels were taken away by the infernal realm, it wouldn't hurt at all. However, if someone killed a large number of devils in the endless bloody battles, they would receive the joy of the abyss and rapidly improve. That's the bloody plains over there. Beyond that is the devil's territory, the entrance to hell. Yang Feng commanded the 20,000 elite Abyssal Fiend Legion to the edge of bloody battlefield plain. From afar, he could see countless abyssal fiends and devils engaged in a frenzied fight. From time to time, tyrannical auras would rise from the bloody battlefield plain, and at the same time, a large number of abyssal fiends and devils would die tragically. Yang Feng's eyes constricted, and he clearly saw that the abyssal fiend army outnumbered the devil army by more than 3 times. But the abyssal army didn't have any formation, nor did they have any cooperation. They just rushed forward in a chaotic manner, crazily attacking the devils. The devil army was in good order, like well-disciplined iron-blooded elites that had gone through countless battles. They formed a formation and cast all kinds of spells to bombard the abyssal fiends. The abyssal fiends slammed into the reef formed by the devil army like a tide, and then collapsed and shattered. If not for the fact that there were too many abyssal demons, they would have collapsed long ago. Looking at the bloody battlefield plain, Yang Feng vaguely felt that abyssal origin force was calling him from the battlefield, and his eyes shimmered with excitement. He said solemnly, "Munch, take people to build a barracks. I'll go ahead and fight." Munch, who had evolved into a mid-level abyssal demon, said respectfully, "Yes, Master." Although Munch wasn't strong, but he was clever and loyal to Yang Feng. As a result, he became Yang Feng's butler and was responsible for handling chores. Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and like a golden bolt of lightning, he flew towards the bloody battlefield plain. As soon as Yang Feng rushed into the bloody battlefield plain, he flicked his wrist, and a 2-meter-long gold scythe appeared in his hand. With a slash of the 2-meter-long gold scythe, 6 devils were cut in 2. Souls and power flew out of the 6 devils and were absorbed by the abyss, and then pure abyssal force poured into Yang Feng. Feeling the changes in his body, Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with enigmatic light. So comfortable, so this is abyssal force. As long as I keep killing, I'll be able to break through the bottleneck and promote to a Viscount rank abyssal lord. With a thought, Yang Feng plunged into the midst of the devil army. The gold scythe in his hand turned into a fearsome storm and slayed all the devils he encountered. A copious amount of abyssal force poured into his body and improved his strength. Wherever Yang Feng passed, the devils were cut into pieces. He forcibly opened a path, which attracted the attention of countless devil powerhouses. The eyes of a 3-meter-tall baron-rank humanoid devil with long gray hair, a conical horn on the head, sturdy muscles, and a ferocious-looking face holding a huge wolf-tooth club in his hand flickered fiercely, and he brandished the huge wolf-tooth club and rushed towards Yang Feng. In the wake of the huge wolf-tooth club, large swaths of abyssal fiends were smashed into meat paste. The baron-rank humanoid devil killed more than 100 abyssal fiends in a dozen-plus breaths of time, and then appeared in front of Yang Feng and smashed the huge wolf-tooth club at him. "Idiot! Since we are of the same rank, you still want to fight me? How reckless!" Yang Feng leaned to the side, then the gold scythe in his hand flashed, and a gold ray flashed past the baron-rank humanoid devil. A red line appeared on the baron-rank humanoid devil, and a look of despair flashed in his eyes. He was instantly split in 2, and a copious amount of blood sprayed on the ground. Formidable abyssal force enveloped Yang Feng, and bursts of joy came from the abyss. Yang Feng exuded Viscount rank abyssal fiend fluctuations of power, and he stepped into the domain of transcendent rank powerhouses. As soon as he promoted to the Viscount rank abyssal fiend rank, Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he turned into a gold storm. Wherever he passed, large swaths of infernal devils were slayed and became his nourishment. Promoted to the Viscount rank abyssal fiend rank. Interesting, let me, kill you. In the devil army, a pinnacle Viscount rank devil Viscount with 3 goat horns and a tall physique, looking like a handsome young man, looked at Yang Feng and revealed a malevolent smile. Unlike the chaotic abyssal fiends who kill everything they see, they are different. Most of the infernal devils would choose to kill weaker opponents so that they could quickly increase their strength. The devil Viscount flicked his wrist, and an infernal demonic sword inlaid with a diamond-shaped hell ruby, with countless twisted eyes, and exuding a frightening and queer aura appeared in his hand. The figure of the devil Viscount blurred, and he turned into a black ray shooting towards Yang Feng. When the devil Viscount moved, Yang Feng, who was killing unscrupulously in the devil army, felt his heart shake slightly. He glanced at the infernal demonic sword in the devil Viscount's hand, and his complexion flickered. He suddenly retreated briskly and fled towards the edge of the battlefield. In a one-on-one fight, Yang Feng was confident that he could defeat and even kill the devil Viscount. However, with the infernal demonic sword in hand, he wasn't sure that he could kill the devil Viscount. On such a chaotic battlefield, the slightest carelessness could lead to death. Yang Feng, who had always been very rational, naturally chose to retreat. The infernal demonic sword was a wicked secret treasure refined from transcendent rank devils using high-grade soul stones or superior-grade soul stones plus countless human souls, flesh essence, and various extraordinary life forms. Depending on the materials used, each infernal demonic sword had different extraordinary abilities, making it very queer and powerful. The strength of a devil lord with and without an infernal demonic sword was completely different. Smart, as expected of a gold-horned. However, it's worth killing you this way. Speed up. The devil Viscount smiled ferociously, and an extraordinary life form eye on the infernal demonic sword in his hand opened. Countless black runes diffused from the infernal demonic sword, enveloped the devil Viscount, and suddenly doubled his speed. I can't escape. I can only fight. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly, and he grabbed an abyssal great fiend beside him and threw it towards the devil Viscount Bath. Break! A black sword light flashed, and the abyssal great demon was torn apart, turning into countless fragments that scattered everywhere. A giant golden scythe descended from the sky, slashing towards the devil Viscount. Shatter! The devil Viscount smiled coldly, and an eye on the infernal demonic sword in his hand suddenly opened. Countless runes poured into him, and he slashed with the sword. A black sword ray shone, slashed the huge gold scythe to pieces, and then chopped off one of Yang Feng's arms. Life burn! In a flash, Yang Feng cast a desperate secret method and burned the lifespan of the gold-horned body. After burning 500 years of lifespan, he suddenly erupted. Instead of retreating, he turned into a golden ray, appeared in front of demonic ogre Viscount Bath, stabbed his hand into the other party's heart, operated the devour secret method, and devoured the other party's heart. The devil Viscount Bath shook slightly, his eyes flashed with endless shock, and his body turned into ashes inch by inch. The infernal demonic sword in his hand fell to the ground. Yang Feng's mind stirred, and he sensed the changes in his body at once. After devouring all the power of this devil Viscount, my strength has increased by a large margin. However, this gold-horned body burned 500 years of life, and now only has 6,500 years of life left. Although the loss is a bit big, but as long as I evolve into an Earl-rank abyssal fiend in the future, I can make up for the lost lifespan and gain even more. Chapter 755. In this universe, apart from the legendary Eternals, all other intelligent life forms had lifespans, and abyssal fiends were no exception. Junior abyssal fiends had a lifespan of about 500 years, intermediate abyssal fiends 700 years, advanced abyssal fiends 1,000 years, great fiends 2,000 years, fiend barons 4,000 years, fiend viscounts 7,000 years, fiend earls 20,000 years, fiend marquises 50,000 years, and fiend grand dukes 100,000 years. However, that was their lifespan. As long as a great fiend consumed abyssal soul coins and stayed in the endless abyss, they could prolong their lifespan to 10,000 years at most. As long as abyssal lords stayed in the endless abyss and absorbed some soul coins, they could live for millions or even tens of millions of years like gods. As for their lifespan, it would be difficult to make up for the loss of a year. The gold-horned burned 500 years of his lifespan, which was equivalent to losing more than 100,000 years of his lifespan. Even if he consumed soul stones, it would be difficult to make up for such a loss. Only by evolving into an abyssal fiend Earl could he obtain a longer lifespan. Yang Feng beckoned with his hand, and the severed right arm flew back to him. Gold light flickered, and the arm quickly healed. Yang Feng sensed the power inside him, and the corners of his mouth rose into a smile of excitement. This devil Viscount is very strong. It should be a pinnacle Viscount rank powerhouse. After devouring it, I now possess advanced Viscount rank power. At this moment, a skull on Yang Feng's waist suddenly shattered into countless fragments that scattered on the ground. Who? How dare you touch my people? Killing intent streaked past Yang Feng's eyes, and he blurred into motion and flew towards the Fiend Legion he commanded. Warren Fiend Legion's encampment. A backed abyssal fiend baron followed 20 great fiends to the encampment. A great fiend roared towards the encampment, "Come out, this is Sir Baron Dario's territory." Munch and 2 great fiends subordinated to Yang Feng walked out under the protection of a dozen advanced abyssal fiends. Munch said respectfully, "I'm Munch, the butler of the great Baron Warren. Baron Warren has already entered the blood war. If you have any important matters, please wait for the Baron to return and discuss it with him personally." The backed abyssal fiend Baron's eyes flashed with a cold light. He took a step forward and revealed a cruel smile, "I am Baron Dario. Hand over the succubus among you. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you." An incomparably violent demonic aura spread out from Baron Dario's body and shrouded the entire area. Munch and the other abyssal demons' expressions changed drastically, their eyes filled with fear. It is the nature of abyssal fiends to bully the weak and fear the strong. If the abyssal fiend Lord Yang Feng was present, he could use his authority to order the abyssal fiends to attack Baron Dario. But without Yang Feng, the abyssal fiends didn't dare to attack abyssal fiend Lord Dario. The pretty face of Chloris hiding in the barracks flickered, and she crushed a skull engraved with countless runes. Baron Dario glared at the abyssal fiends and shouted, "Get the hell out of my way. Otherwise, die." The minds of the 2 abyssal great fiends and a dozen advanced abyssal fiends who were Yang Feng's subordinates shook, and they involuntarily made way. The 2 abyssal great fiends were originally Baron Merton's subordinates. But under Yang Feng's coercion, they became Yang Feng's subordinates. When Yang Feng was here, he could use his abyssal lord authority to order them around. But when Yang Feng wasn't here, they had no loyalty to him. Munch's expression was one of panic and despair. Unable to speak, he trembled and knelt on the ground, but didn't make way. "Trash!" Dario sneered, then stepped forward and casually kicked Munch, sending him flying and crashing into the camp's wood. Munch spewed out a large mouthful of blood. A dozen of his bones were fractured, and his internal organs were ruptured. Paralyzed on the ground, he twisted and struggled in pain. If Munch hadn't been promoted to an intermediate abyssal fiend, he would have been kicked to death. Moreover, Dario didn't kick him casually. If Dario had kicked him with all his strength, Munch would have been blown to pieces. When Baron Dario stepped into the barracks, he glanced at the junior abyssal fiend standing aside and said coldly, "Where is the succubus? Tell me, or you'll all die." "Over there. It's her. She's here." Those low-ranking abyssal fiends unscrupulously betrayed Chloris and rushed to point at her. Face pale, Chloris unfolded her succubus wings and flapped them, flying into the distance. What a top-notch product. I've played with several succubi, but none of them are as outstanding as this one. Get down here. When Baron Dario saw Chloris, his eyes lit up and filled with excitement. He extended his hand, and black abyssal chi shot out like a snake, wrapped around Chloris, bound her, and pulled her down from the sky. Chloris kept struggling, but she was still pulled to Baron Dario's side and hugged. What an outstanding succubus, and a virgin to boot. Interesting, let me be your first man right here. Baron Dario smiled excitedly. With a flash of black light, the armor and leather clothes covering him were blown away, revealing a strong naked body, and he pressed Chloris to the ground. Abyssal fiends were beings formed from chaos, madness, and other negative forces. Only abyssal fiend lords above the transcendent rank, abyssal fiend viscount, could control their desires and become rational and intelligent. Fiend barons, on the other hand, depended on the level of evolution. Baron Dario clearly hadn't evolved to the point where he could think rationally. "I am Warren, do you want to die?" A cold voice came from afar, and the breath of an abyssal fiend viscount descended and enveloped the area. Abyssal fiend viscount. That's a viscount rank lord. The faces of the abyssal fiends changed dramatically, and they trembled and looked into the distance full of awe. A viscount rank abyssal lord was already a transcendent rank powerhouse with all kinds of incredible power. Even on other planes outside the abyss, they could kill some weak feeble divine force rank gods. Ordinary moonlight warlocks weren't the opponent of a viscount rank abyssal lord. If a viscount rank abyssal lord used its sovereign authority in its territory, it might even defeat a glorious dawn warlock rank powerhouse. Fiend viscount. Baron Dario's face suddenly fell. He beckoned with his hand, and with a flash of demonic light, the armor scattered on the ground flew to him, and he put it on. A black ray descended from the sky, and Yang Feng appeared outside the gate of the barracks. Scram! Yang Feng glanced at the great fiend brought by Baron Dario, then stabbed his hand into the great fiend's heart, operated Devour secret method, and devoured the great fiend, turning it into a pile of ashes. The complexions of the remaining 19 abyssal great fiends changed dramatically, and they suddenly shot to the side, making way for Yang Feng, and looked at him full of apprehension. The cruel and ruthless Baron Dario gave Yang Feng a look full of apprehension and said courteously, "Viscount Warren, I am Baron Dario, the son of Viscount Fievel, and one of the 3 barons subordinated to him. I like this succubus very much. I'm willing to use 50 inferior soul stones to buy this succubus. Please sell this succubus to me for the sake of Viscount Fievel. This succubus is my exclusive descendant. You dare to touch her? That's courting death." Yang Feng's eyes flashed fiercely, and he took a step forward. Along with an afterimage, he strangely appeared behind Baron Dario, mercilessly stabbed his hand into the other's heart, operated Devour secret method, and devoured Baron Dario's power. You dare to kill me? My father will never let you off. Your family." Amidst the miserable screams, Baron Dario turned into ashes that drifted in all directions. "Don't worry, your father will soon become a part of my power." Yang Feng's figure shook, and he turned into an afterimage shooting towards the remaining abyssal great fiends. Even though the 19 abyssal great fiends resisted desperately, but they still died like ants and turned into ashes in Yang Feng's hands. After killing all the enemies, Yang Feng exuded frightening demonic chi and looked around. The abyssal fiends in the barracks lowered their heads, not daring to look Yang Feng in the eye. "A bunch of trash, you dare to betray my exclusive descendant. Go to hell, all of you." Yang Feng glanced at the abyssal fiends and extended his hand, and a huge whirlpool suddenly appeared. A dense crowd of abyssal fiends flew into the huge whirlpool. Twisted by the huge whirlpool, the abyssal fiends issued miserable screams, and then turned into ashes that scattered on the ground. The abyssal fiends in the barracks were scared witless, not daring to resist. After killing more than 2,000 junior abyssal fiends, Yang Feng pointed with his finger, and formidable abyssal demonic chi poured into Munch and pulled him back from the brink of death. Most of his injuries were healed. Yang Feng swept the abyssal fiends with a glance and said coldly, "Line up at once." The 2 abyssal great fiends and a dozen advanced fiends quickly entered the midst of the abyssal fiends and began to line up. Chapter 756. Abyssal fiend viscounts are already transcendent rank powerhouses. Among abyssal lords, they are already considered as powerhouses. In some weak abyssal floors, there are even abyssal fiend viscounts who act as the masters of their floors. On the bloody plains, the abyssal demons had built many castles. Those castles were built by abyssal demons that were at least viscount rank. There is fighting in the bloody battlefield plane virtually all the time. As long as you can survive in the bloody battlefield plane, you can evolve all the way and eventually evolve into a Marquis rank Abyssal Fiend. The limit of the bloody battlefield plane is the Abyssal Fiend or Devil Marquis rank Abyssal Fiend. Once a Marquis rank Abyssal Fiend or Devil Marquis rank Abyssal Fiend is born, they will choose to leave the bloody battlefield plane quickly. That is because continuing to fight here won't bring them any benefits. On the contrary, they will become the prey of Infinity Warlock rank existences. If a Marquis rank Abyssal Fiend returns to their territory, then by relying on the subordinates they gathered in the bloody battlefield plane and the sovereign energy of the Abyssal Lord, they can even fight a Grand Duke rank Abyssal Fiend. Of course, only in the case of their territory can they use the sovereign energy to resist invaders. It is because of this that in the Endless Abyss, Marquis rank Abyssal Fiends belong to the quasi-upper echelon, and can partially control their own fate. Grand Duke rank Abyssal Fiends belong to the upper echelon of the Abyss. Charge! Yang Feng led the 18,000 Abyssal Fiends to a castle, pointed at the castle, and used the sovereign energy of the Abyssal Lord to order. The eyes of the 18,000 Abyssal Fiends suddenly turned slightly red, and they rushed towards the castle like a tide. Who's that? There's a good show to watch. That's Viscount Fivel's castle. Who did he offend? From the Abyssal Fiend castles nearby, gazes focused on Viscount Fivel's castle and revealed looks of schadenfreude. The relationship between Abyssal Fiends is extremely bad, and it is normal for them to attack each other. This is one of the reasons why Abyssal Fiends, who outnumber Infernal Devils by more than 100 times, are still repeatedly defeated in the bloody battlefield plane. This is Viscount Fivel's castle. How dare you come here and offend the great Viscount Fivel? Go to hell! Covered in flames, a Baron rank Balrog roared wildly and rushed into the crowd of Abyssal Fiends with the Balrog sword in hand. With a wave of the sword, 20-meter-long flames sprayed out of the Balrog sword. In the wake of the flames, the Abyssal Fiends were set ablaze and issued miserable screams. A Baron-class Deep Abyss Demon Dragon flapped its wings and flew out of the castle. It was followed by 12 legendary Deep Abyss Demon Dragons. They spat out Abyssal Dragon breath, burning the low-level Abyssal Demons. A backed Abyssal Fiend appeared on top of the city wall. Eyes flashing with a ferocious glint, it looked down coldly and stared at Yang Feng with killing intent in its eyes, and said frigidly, "Is it you who killed my son, you bastard? I will capture you alive, extract your soul, make it into a soul candle, and burn you for 10,000 years. You are Viscount Fivel. For your son to touch my succubus, he's courting death. I'll send you to reunite with him now." Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly, and he unleashed the Gold Horn's innate growth ability Gold Magic Power. Vast demonic chi suddenly converged and formed a set of gold armor covering him. The Gold Horn's innate growth ability Gold Magic Power could absorb abyssal force and strengthen itself to a maximum of twofold. Reportedly, the Battle Demon's Sex Battle Demon's secret method was developed based on the Gold Horn's innate growth ability. Blessed by Gold Magic Power, Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he appeared in front of the Baron rank Balrog like a ghost. He stabbed the Baron rank Balrog's heart with his right hand, operated the Devour secret method, and frantically devoured. The Baron Balrog's body turned to ash, inch by inch. So strong! What an amazing guy! As expected of a gold horned. As expected of a gold horned that can contend against ghost seeds. His speed is really frightening, and his battle sense is also astonishingly strong. A strong enemy. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the Abyssal Fiend lords in the castles shimmered with dignity. After Yang Feng insta-killed the Baron rank Balrog, he looked at the Baron rank Abyssal Dragon, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. The heart of the Baron rank Abyssal Dragon shook. It flapped its wings and flew into the sky, accompanied by a gust of wind. Once an Abyssal Fiend evolved into a Fiend Lord, other Fiend Lords could no longer control them through ordinary Fiend Lord authority. The stronger an Abyssal Fiend Lord was, the more difficult it was to be controlled by higher-level Abyssal Fiend Lords. The Baron rank Abyssal Demonic Dragon sensed Yang Feng's terror, and thus chose to escape. Go to hell! Viscount Fivel's eyes shimmered fiercely. He cast Blink, appeared behind Yang Feng in a flash, and stabbed his claw at Yang Feng's heart. Abyssal fiends are extremely resistant to abyssal spells. Unless they have special abyssal secret treasures, they mostly deal with their enemies at close quarters. You're the one who's going to die. Yang Feng leaned sideways, turned around, and stabbed Viscount Fivel in the heart with his claw, crushed his heart, and operated a secret method to devour Viscount Fivel's power. How is this possible? How could I lose to you? Viscount Fivel's eyes shimmered with despair, and he screamed and turned into ashes inch by inch. I surrender. I surrender, please take me in, sir. When Viscount Fivel died, the Abyssal Fiend Legion under Fivel's command collapsed and surrendered to Yang Feng. Only the Baron rank Abyssal Dragon escaped the battlefield with 12 Legend rank Abyssal Dragons. You, how dare you? How dare you kill Viscount Fivel? Don't you know that he's my subordinate? At this time, an angry roar came from afar. A 3-meter-tall ghost-type abyssal demon with a hideous face, 2 horns on its head, and a pair of demonic wings on its back strode over. Its entire body was black and engraved with countless strange magic runes, and it exuded the terrifying power of an earl. This ghost-type abyssal demon strode over. Behind the ghost-type abyssal earl followed more than 100 abyssal great fiends and 10 abyssal barons. Yang Feng glanced at the ghost-type abyssal fiend and asked coldly, "Who are you?" The eyes of the ghost-type abyssal fiend shimmered fiercely, and he uttered solemnly, "I am Earl Fortuny, the great Earl Fortuny." Yang Feng's eyes shimmered fiercely, and a pinnacle abyssal viscount rank aura gushed out, and he roared at the ghost-type abyssal fiend, "Earl Fortuny, the son of your subordinate Viscount Fivel dares to touch my woman. He deserves to die. You dare to come to me for trouble, are you tired of living? Do you want to die?" Among abyssal fiends, the law of the jungle is a matter of course. As long as an abyssal fiend shows a trace of weakness, they will be swarmed by other abyssal fiends and torn to pieces. What an arrogant gold-horned! To dare provoke Earl Fortuny, how amusing! He's dead meat. To dare provoke a fiend earl for the sake of a woman, how foolish! Even in the abyss, such idiots often appear. Was he bewitched by a succubus or a nightmare? For a mere fiend viscount to provoke a fiend earl, he must be out of his mind. The abyssal fiend lords watching from the sidelines focused their gazes on Yang Feng and Earl Fortuny and discussed excitedly. Just as there are many vicious mortals in the secular world, in the endless abyss, there are also loyal fiends, fiends who abide by order, and fiends who desire love. However, in the endless abyss, such fiends are extremely rare. Many of the abyssal fiend lords are knowledgeable people who have seen countless fiends. Naturally, they have also seen abyssal fiends who have been bewitched by love. You, how dare you? Die! Earl Fortuny's eyes shimmered fiercely, and killing intent gushed out. Suddenly, he stabbed a claw at Yang Feng's heart. Speed up! With a flick of his wrist, the infernal demonic sword suddenly appeared in Yang Feng's hand. With a thought, an eye on the infernal demonic sword suddenly opened, and black light shone and enveloped him. In an instant, his speed increased, and he met Earl Fortuny head-on. Sword rays and claw rays shone. In a breath of time, thousands of ear-piercing sounds of collisions erupted in the void, and a gold figure flew out. Covered in blood, it is Yang Feng. After all, unlike Yang Feng's true body, the gold horn doesn't form a small world and can draw support from world force. As a veteran earl, Earl Fortuny possesses intermediate glorious sun warlock rank strength. In a flash, he suppressed Yang Feng with absolute power and speed. What an amazing kid! If it was an ordinary fiend earl, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to suppress him. Unfortunately, Earl Fortuny is not an ordinary fiend earl. He's dead meat. In the outside world, the abyssal fiends stared at Yang Feng with a dignified look in their eyes. As seasoned abyssal fiends, they naturally saw how powerful Yang Feng was. With the power of a Viscount rank abyssal lord, he contended against an Earl rank abyssal lord. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.